Chapter 1358 Seven-Colored Snake Mushroom. As the saying goes, the brighter the color of the mushroom, the more poisonous it is. The color of these mushrooms is comparable to the color of the rainbow. One can imagine how poisonous they are. The strange grass in Yunchujia's dantian immediately clamored to eat the mushrooms. Yunchujio could not help but curse in her heart. Damn it, she only knew how to eat and eat in one day. She was a Guai Chao. However, compared to drinking the poisonous river water, Yunchujio felt that eating these poisonous mushrooms was still acceptable. This fellow would not admit it. In fact, when she smelled the strange fragrance, she was also a little greedy. Since these were poisonous mushrooms, there should not be any guardian beasts. However, to be on the safe side, Yunchujio still threw a few small stones to test the waters. After seeing that there was nothing unusual, she moved closer. She used the large kitchen knife to chop off a mushroom and started to chew on it. Needless to say, this poisonous mushroom tasted fresh and sweet. It actually had a different taste. After eating a few large mushrooms, Yunchujio started to sweep the area. She used the large kitchen knife to chop off all the large mushrooms. After chopping off all the large mushrooms, she also dug up a few small mushrooms, preparing to plant them in a suitable place to eat them later. Xiao Mogu was quite conscientious and did not kill all of them. He left the roots of the large mushrooms and some small mushrooms behind so that they could continue to reproduce in the future. Just as Yunchujio was feeling satisfied, she heard a noise from underground. She was so frightened that she immediately jumped onto a large tree next to her. Suddenly, dozens of colorful vipers crawled out from underground. When Yunchujio saw these vipers, she suddenly remembered the names of these mushrooms. These colorful mushrooms were called seven-colored snake mushrooms. The reason why they were called seven-colored snake mushrooms was because these mushrooms were cultivated with the venom of the level 26 Desolation seven-colored striped snake. The seven-colored striped snake cultivated these seven-colored snake mushrooms for its own consumption and for the purpose of trapping its prey. The demon beasts were attracted by the strange fragrance of these mushrooms. Once they got close to this place, the Desolation seven-colored striped snake would be able to enjoy a good meal. Originally, Yunchujio would have discovered these mushrooms once she got close to them. However, today was the day when the small snakes hatched, so the big snakes were waiting for the young snakes to hatch in the underground nest. Therefore, Yunchujio took advantage of this opportunity. It almost destroyed their thousands of years of hard work. One could imagine how furious the snakes were. The snakes soon discovered Yunchujio on the tree. A few wild seven-colored striped snakes climbed up the tree trunk. Yunchujio was so scared that she cried out repeatedly, "Io, it's not weird if you don't know. I didn't know this was your private land either. Besides, didn't I not kill all of them? In a few years, these mushrooms will grow again." The snakes were so angry that they were half dead. It was easy for them to say that. In a few years, a few decades wouldn't be able to grow to the same size as before. The detestable little girl must be killed today. Of course, Yunchujio would not sit still and wait for her death. She used the sticky silk to swing onto another tree. Just as she was feeling proud of herself, something unexpected happened. The wild seven-colored striped snakes also jumped onto this tree. That's right, they really did jump. The abdomen of these wild seven-colored striped snakes was different from other snakes. They actually had 4 short claws, but they were too short. Yunchujio didn't see it just now. This guy immediately panicked. He thought that he could escape from the snakes by relying on the sticky wires, but he didn't expect these damn snakes to jump. This time, it really took her life. These wild seven-colored striped snakes not only knew how to jump, but they were also very cunning. Yunchujio quickly discovered their intention. They actually climbed onto the trees around Yunchujio, trying to cut off all of Yunchujio's paths. Chapter 1359, Strike the snake at its 7 inches. Yunchujio's heart tightened. What should she do? Although she was not afraid of their venom, she could not stand being bitten. At this moment, a wild seven-colored striped snake leaped onto the tree where Yun Chujio was and quickly crawled towards the branch where Yun Chujio was. Yun Chujio aimed several purple needles at its eyes and 7 inches. The wild seven-colored striped snake nimbly dodged Yun Chujio's attack and shot out a stream of venom at Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio only slightly avoided her face. As for the rest of the area, if you want to spit it out, just spit it out. Although it was a little disgusting, it wouldn't do anything. Seeing that Yun Chujio wasn't afraid of its venom, the wild seven-colored striped snake climbed up even faster and spat out its bright red tongue, wanting to swallow Yun Chujio into its stomach. Yun Chujio raised her hand, and a small pig of spiritual power pounced at the wild seven-colored striped snake, biting on the 7 inches of the wild seven-colored striped snake. The wild seven-colored striped snake was so scared that it quickly twisted its body. It wanted to shake the small pig of spiritual power down, but the small pig of spiritual power firmly grabbed the snake's skin and bit the 7 inches of the wild seven-colored striped snake. The wild seven-colored striped snake immediately fell off the tree trunk in pain. Yun Chujio was overjoyed. She did not expect that the small pig of spiritual power was very good at dealing with poisonous snakes. However, she was obviously happy too early. The wild seven-colored striped snake just now was just too careless. The other wild seven-colored striped snakes had learned their lesson. When Yun Chujio released the spiritual energy piglet again, they directly used their venom or tails to disperse the spiritual energy piglet. The spiritual energy piglet had no chance to bite their 7 inches. Yun Chujio's heart sank to the bottom of the valley again. She gritted her teeth and simply jumped onto the ground. She held up the spiritual power barrier and ran fiercely. The snake swarm was chasing closely behind her. The forest was densely packed with trees. How could Yun Chujio escape from those poisonous snakes? Very soon, she was surrounded by the poisonous snakes in the middle. Yun Chujio cursed in her heart. Damn it, if it weren't for the fact that she couldn't use the talisman here. I could blow you all into pieces in a minute. Yun Chujio had no choice but to activate all her defensive spirit tools and fight the snakes head-on. Although Yun Chujio had killed and injured a few snakes with the help of the little pig and the small purple needle, it was still a drop in the bucket. There were still dozens of wild seven-colored striped snakes crazily attacking Yun Chujio's defensive barrier. Yun Chujio had no choice but to release puppet number 1, who was severely injured. The snakes were shocked by the sudden appearance of puppet number 1 and sprayed a large amount of venom at puppet number 1, however, the venom did not harm puppet number 1 at all. 2 sharp forks popped out from puppet number 1's arms and it began to kill the snakes with both hands. Puppet number 1 specialized in attacking the 7-inch and 7-inch eyes of the wild rainbow-striped snake. The effect was quite remarkable. Yun Chujio was so happy that she almost clapped her hands and cheered. However, this fellow knew that the most important thing now was to escape. Although he was reluctant to part with puppet number 1, he could not care less about his life and ran away. Seeing that Yun Chujio was going to run away, the snakes were unwilling to give up. Some of them stayed to attack puppet number 1, but most of them still chased after Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio mumbled as she ran. Damn it! Didn't I just pluck some of your mushrooms? Do you have to be so stubborn? If you provoke me, I will burn all your mushrooms to death. Yun Chujio's heart skipped a beat when she said this. Yes. These snakes cared about their mushrooms the most. She might as well use this as a threat to see if these snakes would still dare to show off. Chapter 1360, Puppet number 2. Thinking of this, Yun Chujio dashed toward the place where the colorful snake mushrooms grew. When she reached the place, Yun Chujio struck a tree next to her with lightning, and a burnt mark immediately appeared on the tree trunk. Little loaches. I'm warning you. If you dare to come any closer, I will completely destroy your mushrooms. I will make sure that you will never see these mushrooms again for the rest of your lives, Yun Chujio said arrogantly while setting up a defensive barrier. The snakes hissed and hissed angrily. It was obvious that they were about to explode from anger. However, looking at the scorched marks on the tree, if the smelly girl really wanted to fight to the death, she would really destroy the mushrooms. In that case, their gains would not make up for their losses. The snakes did not dare to go forward and attack. Yun Chujio also did not dare to really destroy the mushrooms. The two sides were in a stalemate. Yun Chujio raised her spiritual energy barrier and simply took out her weapon refining furnace to start making puppets. Damn it. Anyway, she still had a ready-made puppet disc in her storage ring. After she finished making puppet number 2, she would kill these damn snakes. The snakes didn't know what Yun Chujio was going to do, so they didn't dare to attack recklessly. They were afraid that Yun Chujio would really destroy the mushroom field. At this moment, the other half of the snakes crawled back. Yun Chujio's heart sank. She didn't know how puppet number 1 was doing. Since the snakes had come back, puppet number 1 was either destroyed or had run out of spiritual stones. Although puppet number 1 was just a dead object, Yun Chujio still couldn't bear to part with a trace of Yun Chujio's spiritual sense on the puppet disc. Forget it, she would solve the current situation first and then go check it out. Yun Chujio had been in a stalemate with the snakes for 6 hours. The snakes couldn't hold it in any longer. A wild 7-colored striped snake shot a stream of venom at Yun Chujio's defensive barrier. Yun Chujio's eyes darkened. She waved her hand, Katja directly cut the roots of a large mushroom into charcoal. I'm warning you. I'm not playing around with you. If you attack me, I'll destroy a mushroom. If you don't believe me, try me. Yun Chujio's lightning strike immediately shocked the snakes. The snakes did not dare to attack Yun Chujio anymore. They hissed and hissed their tongues as they discussed what to do. Yun Chujio tightened her hands. Fortunately, she had a puppet disc ready. After the puppet was completed, Yun Chujio placed the puppet disc inside and placed a few supreme-grade spirit stones on it. Then, the iron puppet opened its eyes. Puppet 2 is complete. At this time, the snakes also came up with a strategy. They surrounded Yun Chujio layer by layer, so that even if Yun Chujio used lightning, it would only hit them, not the mushrooms. Yun Chujio also do not and they ink, directly release puppet number 2, and then release 3 half-Shao Hong red fox. Let it immediately began to howl. The 3-tailed and half-small red fox immediately began to howl. Yun Chujio took advantage of the time when the snakes were in a daze to release several piglets of spiritual power. These piglets of spiritual power went straight for the 7 inches of the snakes. As the snakes were affected by the cries of the 3-tailed and half-small red fox, their reactions were slow by half a beat. Immediately, a few piglets of spiritual power succeeded in killing Shao Hong. Yun Chujio's spirits were greatly boosted. Killing one would result in 1 less piglet. It was just that puppet number 2 was too thin. It would be great if puppet number 1 could come back. Yun Chujio's eyes lit up. She took out Xiao He and gave it a few instructions. Then, Xiao He burrowed into the ground and disappeared. Yun Chujio's original intention was to let Xiao He find puppet number 1. If puppet number 1 ran out of spirit stones, she would let Xiao He put on top-grade spirit stones so that puppet number 1 could come back and participate in the battle. Unexpectedly, Xiao He made an unexpected discovery. Chapter 1361, What else can we do, Master? I've found the nest of those snakes. There are some small snakes that have just broken out of their shells. Xiao He sent back a message with its spiritual sense. Xiao He, get me a few small snakes. They have to be alive. Be careful, don't kill them. Yun Chujio's eyes lit up. Although this matter was a little despicable, there was nothing she could do in order to survive. Not long after, Xiao He returned with a string of small snakes on its claws. These small snakes were just born and could not spray venom, so the little black rats were not afraid of them at all. When the snakes saw the small snakes, they immediately became extremely angry. They hissed and stuck out their tongues, crazily attacking Yun Chujia's defensive barrier. If you want to kill these little things, you can continue to attack. Yun Chujio said fiercely. The snake group didn't dare to move. The higher the level of the demon beast, the harder it was to breed. These little snakes were hatched by the snake group after hundreds of years. Naturally, they were extremely precious. I didn't want their little lives. Besides, I didn't know that these mushrooms were your reserve food. As the saying goes, those who don't know won't be blamed. I'll compensate you with some medicinal pills and let these little snakes go. Don't chase me anymore. Let's forget about our grudges. How about it? The snakes were about to collapse. What? What else could they do? You're too despicable. Yun Chujio saw that although the snakes were angry, they didn't attack her anymore. She knew that they agreed, so she threw them a few bottles of super-quality blood coagulation pills and exploding spirit pills. She walked forward with the small snakes in her hands. You can't all follow me. Otherwise, I'll return the small snakes to you. What if you go back on your word? At most, 3 of you can follow me. The rest of you should guard your nest. TSK, I'm not the one who's criticizing you. Are there any parents as incompetent as you? How dare you leave your children in your nest? You've met a kind person like me. If you meet a cruel person, your little babies will all die. The snakes were both ashamed and angry. They hissed and spat their tongues, wishing they could swallow Yun Chujio. However, they had to admit that Yun Chujio was right. They were indeed careless and did not leave a single snake in the nest. The snakes had no choice but to send 3 wild 7-colored striped snakes to continue following Yun Chujio. The rest of the snakes returned to the nest to take care of the remaining small snakes while the rest checked on the condition of the mushrooms. Yun Chujio soon discovered puppet number 1 lying on the ground. Some of the parts had been broken by the tail of the wild 7-colored striped snakes. Yun Chujio put puppet no. 1 into her spirit beast bag and placed the few small snakes on the ground. She ran away quickly. Although the 3 wild 7-colored striped snakes wanted to kill Yun Chujio, they knew that they could not kill Yun Chujio with just the 3 of them. They could only swallow the small snakes on the ground and return to their nest. Yun Chujio was afraid that the snakes would chase after her again. She ran until she felt that the distance was safe. Then, she sat on the ground and panted. Damn it, she was going to die. She always earned something from every trial. This time, other than Guai Chao drinking to her heart's content, she didn't do anything stupid. She even lost a large part of her defensive spiritual artifact. It was really a huge loss. Yun Chujio gritted her teeth. She couldn't just let it go like this. By Mantu, just you wait. I want you to compensate me for the double loss. Bai Mantu sneezed loudly. After checking, she saw that Yun Chujio was still alive. She was so angry that she was jumping around. This stupid girl was too difficult to deal with. Dozens of wild 7-colored striped snakes couldn't even kill her. Chapter 1362 Spirit Energy Piglet Yun Chujio took out some dry rations as she ate. If she wanted to take revenge on Bai Mantu, she had to first leave the forest and then trick a demon beast to lead the way. Only then would she be able to find the Great River. That's right, that's what she should do. However, before that, she had to first repair puppet number 1. Otherwise, if she encountered another demon beast, she would have to expend her defensive spirit tool. Yun Chujio took out puppet number 1 and looked at it. Many parts of it were badly damaged, so it was really difficult to repair it. Seeing that it was already late, Yun Chujio found an empty space and melted puppet number 1 into molten iron. Then, she refined another refined iron puppet. After refining it, she let the three little ones take turns to be on guard. Yun Chujio took out her all-purpose tent and lay in it, sleeping soundly. Not long after Yun Chujio fell asleep, Xiao Hei squeaked. Yun Chujio climbed out of the tent and saw blue lights flashing around her. Clearly, there were demon beasts surrounding her. Yun Chujio now had two iron puppets in her hands. She had some confidence, so she was not in a hurry to escape. She was ready to see what kind of demon beast it was. A moment later, three level 26 savage wind blade wolves walked out of the forest, drooling as they stared at Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio was puzzled. Why did these demonic beasts drool when they saw her? Was she that beautiful? This guy shamelessly praised himself, then said to the three savage wind blade wolves, "It's so late at night. Why aren't you sleeping? Get lost." The three wild wind blade wolves felt that the little girl was probably not awake and was talking nonsense. Otherwise, she would only dare to talk to them like that unless she was crazy. The three wild wind blade wolves roared and stomped on the ground, ready to pounce on Yun Chujio. "Wait. Three puppies, how about we make a deal?" Yun Chujio said with a smile. "Three puppies?" Probably any wolf would be angry after being called a little dog, and these three wild wind blade wolves were no exception. They immediately fired several wind blades at Yun Chujio, and Yun Chujio activated her defensive spirit tool while dodging. Her mouth wasn't idle either. "Hey! Don't you know what is polite? I haven't finished speaking, and you are already making a move. How shameless!" The three wild wind blade wolves were furious. "We are demonic beasts and you are humans. What business do we have with you? Besides, you are the dog. Your whole family is dogs." Yun Chujio wanted to test the power of the two puppets, so she released puppet number 1 and puppet number 2. Number 1, number 2, attack. Beat him up. The three wild wind blade wolves were confused. What the hell was this? Puppet number 1 and puppet no. 2 charged at one wild wind blade wolf, while Yun Chujio grinned at the remaining wild wind blade wolf. "Puppy, come here. I'll show you what a gang fight is." The wild wind blade wolf looked around in confusion. There were no other humans. What was this girl talking about? It soon understood what Yun Chujio meant by a group fight. As Yun Chujio waved her hands, several cute little piggies with spiritual power pounced at it. The wild wind blade wolf quickly fired the wind blades to disperse the little piggies with spiritual power. However, unexpectedly, the little piggies swallowed the wind blades and pounced at it even more fiercely. The savage wind blade wolf was so scared that it almost cried. What the hell was this? This was the first time it had seen a materialization spell that could swallow the opponent's spiritual energy. This was too abnormal. Chapter 1363, Three Useless Fools. The savage wind blade wolf was so frightened that a few piggies jumped onto its body and bit it. The savage wind blade wolf cried out in pain, "Woo woo, I'm not playing anymore. The baby wants to go home. It's too scary." The other two savage wind blade wolves were not any better. Although their spiritual power was superb, they had never seen a puppet before. They did not know where to start, therefore, they were beaten up by puppet number 1 and puppet number 2 until they cried out in pain. Yun Chujio was very satisfied with the combat strength of puppet number 1 and puppet number 2. These things might not be very effective against humans, but they were really too powerful against demonic beasts. The damage of wind blades and fireballs on the puppets was really limited, it was really great. Well, the spiritual power of the piglets was not bad. It seemed that they could not be judged based on their appearance alone. The cute piglets were also very powerful. Seeing that the beating was almost over, Yun Chujio said, "Number 1, number 2, you guys stop first. I will communicate with the 3 little dogs in a friendly manner. The current state of the 3 wild wind-blade wolves could be said to be worlds apart from before. Just a moment ago, they were still showing off their arrogance. Now, all of them were grimacing in pain. Their eyes were flickering, and they wanted to take the opportunity to escape. Yun Chuzhou naturally understood their intentions. She sneered and said, "Don't think about escaping. My 2 puppets won't be tired even if they run for 10 days and 10 nights. Can you do it?" The 3 wild wind-blade wolves were instantly discouraged. They would be exhausted in 3 days, let alone 10 days. "Come, let's continue talking about the deal. Don't worry, I'm a very kind person. If you don't agree, I won't let my puppets kill you. At most, I'll cut off your ears and tails, beat you half to death, cut dozens of times on your bodies, and sprinkle some salt on you. That's all." The 3 wild wind-blade wolves were on the verge of tears. "If you were to do this, you might as well kill us. How despicable. If we had known that this little girl was so perverted and so despicable, we wouldn't have attacked her. Unfortunately, it was too late to say anything now. We could only listen to what she had to say about the deal. Establish a temporary contract with me and bring me to the poisonous river. As a reward, I'll tell you a secret. Also, after the deed is done, I'll give you some medicinal pills to stop the bleeding and to strengthen your spiritual power. How about it? Isn't it worth it? Hurry up, which one of you 3 will go first? There's a limited number of pills. The one who establishes a contract with me first will get an extra bottle." Yun Chuzhou revealed a typical wolf grandmother smile. The 3 wild wind-blade wolves thought to themselves. Since they couldn't run away anyway, they would have to submit sooner or later. Why not be the first and get an extra bottle of pills? Thus, the 3 useless goods scrambled to establish a temporary contract with Yun Chuzhou. Yun Chuzhou pretended to sigh. "I am the most soft-hearted person. Since you are all so enthusiastic, I will give you some more pills. Come, you come first." Yun Chuzhou pointed at a wild wind-blade wolf. That guy immediately took the initiative to establish a spiritual connection with Yun Chuzhou. After Yun Chuzhou used the beast-controlling technique, the temporary contract was completed. Yun Chuzhou did the same thing with the other 2 wild wind-blade wolves and also established the temporary contract. At this time, the sky was already beginning to brighten. Yun Chuzhou simply sat on the back of a wild wind-blade wolf and let them head to the river. On the way, Yun Chuzhou repeated the story about Qi Ling. The 3 wild wind-blade wolves were also so angry that they gritted their teeth. This Qi Ling was really too vicious. Chapter 1364, The Sinister White Manta. Very soon, Yun Chuzhou came to the side of the river once again. After Yun Chuzhou handed the pills to the 3 wild wind-blade wolves, she cancelled the temporary contract with them and jumped into the river. The 3 wild wind-blade wolves saw that the river water was really free of toxins, so they decided to stay nearby. There would definitely be many demon beasts here to drink water in the future, so they didn't have to worry about not having any meat to eat. After Yun Chuzhou jumped into the river, she felt that Bai Mantu would definitely do the same thing again, so she rolled her eyes and came up with an idea. As expected, when Yun Chuzhou was looking for Bai Mantu's palace on the riverbed, a huge suction force was transmitted over, and Yun Chuzhou was once again transported to Bai Mantu's palace. Just as Bai Mantu was about to form another seal, Yun Chuzhou threw a bunch of chili noodles at it, and Bai Mantu choked on its tears. Yun Chuzhou picked up the rolling pin and beat it with it. "You white Mantu! You still want to set me up? I'll beat you to death." Bai Mantu was beaten into a white pancake, and its self-esteem suffered a great blow. Woo-woo, it was a tool spirit, and it was the god of this great wilderness mystic realm. How could it be beaten up by this stinky girl again and again? It had no face to live. Of course, Yun Chuzhou would not really beat Bai Mantu to death. She had almost vented her anger, only then did she coldly say, "By Mantu, because of your viciousness, I lost a lot of defensive spiritual artifacts. You must compensate me, or else I will tear down this palace." By Mantu said with a sad face, "Little fairy, as you have seen, I am very poor. The only cage was taken away by you last time. I really have nothing left." "Humph. By Mantu, do you think I am an idiot? If you cannot satisfy me today, not only will I destroy your palace, I will also throw you in front of those demonic beasts so that they will recognize you, the black-hearted Qi Ling. I believe that they will treat you well." By Mantu's face turned even paler. It was simply ghastly pale. It could imagine how those demonic beasts would deal with it if they knew that it had poisoned the river. Moreover, it also believed that Yun Chujio wasn't trying to scare it. This stupid girl was really capable of anything. Bai Mantu was silent for a moment. "Little fairy, I really don't have anything good here. I only have some storage rings that belong to those dead cultivators. If you like them, you can take them." Yun Chujio curled her lips. It was actually the same trick as the radish spirit in the 9 Serenities crypt. No matter what, it was just a little bit. Thus, she said, "All right, bring them out and let me have a look." The white steamed bun took out a bunch of storage rings. After Yun Chujio sent her spiritual sense into them, there were indeed only some spirit tools inside. The spirit stones were basically gone, and they were probably already plundered by the white steamed bun. Yun Chujio put away the storage rings, then, she sneered and said, "Do you think you can dismiss me with such a little thing? You can either give me 10 or 8 immortal tools, or you can give me 100 million upper-grade spirit stones. Otherwise, I will start to smash them." Of course, the white steamed bun would not give it so easily. He was crying about being poor and pretending to be pitiful. Unfortunately, these things did not work on Yun Chujio at all. In the end, he could only reluctantly give 100 million upper-grade spirit stones to Yun Chujio. "Little fairy, now you are satisfied. I will send you out. Don't worry. This time, I will definitely not send you to a dangerous place," the white steamed bun said ingratiatingly. Yun Chujio glanced at him. "It doesn't matter if I send you to a dangerous place. I will come back anyway. When the time comes, HMPH. Bai Mantu sent Yun Chujio out with a smile on his face. Then, he revealed a sinister smile. "Stupid girl, I will use my trump card this time. You will definitely die." Chapter 1365 The Miserable Road of the White Steamed Bun. When Yun Chujio opened her eyes, she discovered that she had been transported to a valley. In the distance, there was a pool. It was the place where she had first entered the great desolate realm. Yun Chujio looked left and right. There really weren't any demon beasts. It seemed that the white steamed bun had sincerely changed. Yun Chujio came to the side of the pool. There were still strange red fish swimming inside. It seemed that there were other wild single-horned bulls that were raising them here. While Yun Chujio was looking at the small fish, dark clouds suddenly covered the sky, and large pieces of dark clouds began to gather. Wu Yun and Wu Yun looked at each other. Yun Chujio frowned. Was it going to rain? The sky was getting darker and darker. The strange red fish in the pond began to swim back and forth uneasily. In the end, they all dived into the water. It was obvious that they could not withstand the pressure of the dark clouds. Yun Chujio could not help but sneer in her heart. Since there was such a strong pressure, then it was not an ordinary rain. Could it be that Bai Mantu was taking revenge on her and wanted to kill her with lightning? Kill her? What a joke. All right, Bai Mantu. Since you are so stubborn, don't blame me for not being polite. I want to absorb all of your heavenly lightning power. I want to see how you will howl when the time comes. Thinking of this, Yun Chujio took out a handkerchief and wrapped her hair. Then, she found an empty space and sat there leisurely, humming a tune. Bai Mantu, who was in the palace at the bottom of the river, looked at Yun Chujia's reckless look and laughed so hard that she could not even straighten her back. Well, this fellow did not have a waist to begin with. Damned girl. Just you wait. Although you have the heavenly lightning spirit root, I don't believe that I won't be able to kill you. When the time comes, take what's mine and spit it out. Even the weak water will be mine. When the time comes, you'll be able to live a carefree life again. Bai Mantu's hands began to form seals. Yun Chujio sat on the ground and lazily raised her head to look at the dark clouds in the sky. Bai Mantu, if you want to split it, then hurry up and split it. I don't have the time to waste on you. Bai Mantu, who was making a seal, was shocked. What? The stupid girl knew that it was going to split her. Humph. So what if she knew? Did this stupid girl really think that she was not afraid of being struck by lightning just because she had a heavenly lightning spiritual root? Watch how he'll deal with you. Boom. A purple heavenly lightning as thick as a wrist struck down at Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio did not dodge at all and allowed the heavenly lightning to strike her body. Then, she raised her head and said, Bai Mantu, if you don't know how to use the heavenly lightning, then don't use it. I don't think this thing of yours is called heavenly lightning at all. It's more like a vegetable lightning. It really matches up with your white Mantu. Bai Mantu was so angry that he struck down more than a dozen heavenly lightning consecutively. Yun Chujio acted as if nothing had happened. Moreover, he kept provoking her, Bai Mantu, no wonder you're hiding at the bottom of the water. So you're really trash. You don't even know how to use heavenly lightning. TSK, if I were you, I would have knocked my head against the wall and died. Being alive is a disgrace to the weapon spirit world. The knitting ball, which was knitting a 6-piece sweater set, shivered. Yun Chujia's words reminded it of the stupid things it had done in the past. TSK, Bai Mantu, you're courting death. You should never have struck our black-hearted master with lightning. When the time comes, you will have used up all your heavenly lightning power. Just wait and see. However, White Steamed Bun did not know about Yun Chujia's abnormal physique. It was so angry with Yun Chujio that it jumped around. Humph, it was only a dozen heavenly lightning bolts. Stupid girl, just wait and see. I don't believe that you won't die after I struck 180 heavenly lightning bolts. Rumble. 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 White Steamed Bun continued to strike down the heavenly lightning bolts continuously. It was also moving quickly toward its tragic path. Chapter 1366, Breakthrough. After Bai Mantu struck more than 100 bolts of lightning, he took a closer look and saw that Yun Chujio was still sitting there leisurely. There was nothing wrong with her. Impossible. How was this possible? How could more than 100 bolts of lightning not kill her? Bai Mantu, I've said it before. You're a trash. Don't strike anymore. Even if you strike, it'll be for nothing. TSK, this is the first time I've seen such a trash weapon spirit. Qi Ling looked at Bai Mantu. Bai Mantu was furious. I don't believe that I can't hack you to death. I'll hack. I'll hack. I'll hack. Rumble. 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 An unending stream of heavenly lightning began to strike. Yun Chujio didn't care about this little bit of lightning at all. However, she discovered a problem. The lightning spiritual force in her body was actually starting to stir. Could it be that she was about to break through? Yun Chujia's heart was filled with joy. She did not expect to have such an unexpected harvest. It seemed that she had to let the white bun strike her for a while more. An hour passed. Yun Chujio was still alive and kicking. The white bun could not help but feel a little discouraged. Could it be that this stinky girl was really not afraid of being struck by lightning? White Bun, have you used up all the power of lightning? Huh, to tell you the truth, I have already reached the limit of what I can bear. However, you have no power of lightning. Huh, are you so angry that you want to die? Yun Chujio placed her hands on her waist, she looked up at the sky. Bai Mantu was delighted. This brat had already reached her limit. That's great. She still had half of her power of lightning left. She would definitely be struck to death. Hence, Bai Mantu struck Yun Chujio again. After a quarter of an hour, Yun Chujio lay on the ground and said weakly, "Damn you, Bai Mantu, do you think you can kill me? Although I only have one breath left, don't even think about killing me." When Bai Mantu heard Yun Chujio's words, how could he hold back? Another bolt of lightning struck down. "Io, I am only left with half a breath. However, damn you, Bai Mantu, do you not have the power of lightning anymore? I can feel that the power of lightning just now has begun to weaken, so you cannot kill me. When I am better, I will look for you. I will beat you into a white pancake. I'll sun you up until you're dry." Bai Mantu was so angry that he didn't care how much power of the lightning he still had. All of it struck at Yun Chujio. In the end, the heavenly lightning was only as thick as a finger. Yun Chujio estimated that Bai Mantu had exhausted the power of the lightning, so she stopped pretending and stood up. She smiled at Wu Yun in the sky and said, "Bai Mantu, thank you very much. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have been able to successfully break through. Although your formation lightning is a little weak and only allowed me to advance by 3 levels, it's still not bad." What? Not only did the smelly girl not die, but she also broke through. Bai Mantu rubbed his eyes in disbelief and then fell to the ground. It's over. He was tricked. Only then did Bai Mantu realize that he had used all the power of lightning. How was he going to deter those demonic beasts in the future? Just when Bai Mantu had nothing to live for. He heard Yun Chujio say, "Bai Mantu, you don't have any power of lightning now. If you don't want to be bullied by the demonic beasts in the future, then quickly get your ass over here. Otherwise, HMPH. Bai Mantu struggled with himself for a long time. He chose between his self-esteem and reality and obediently teleported himself in front of Yun Chujio. "Little fairy, did you really break through? I could tell that you might break through, so I helped you." Bai Mantu said flatteringly. Chapter 1367, Bai Mantu who wanted to cry but had no tears. "Bai Mantu, are you shameless? You helped me. I think you want to kill me, right? Then you can take the things on me for yourself, right?" Yun Chujio said with a sneer. Bai Mantu licked his face and said, "Little fairy, how can I be such a person? How can I dare to harm you? Wouldn't I be asking for trouble? Little fairy, look, you've already leveled up. Shouldn't you give me some of the power of lightning?" Yun Chujio glanced at it and said, "Give it back to you. Did I borrow it from you? If you want it, you can exchange it with something or buy it with spirit stones. Then how much is it?" "It's not expensive. A bolt of heavenly lightning costs 100,000 high-grade spirit stones. How many do you want to buy?" Yun Chujio said indifferently. Bai Mantu fell to the ground on his butt. A profiteer. A black-hearted profiteer. This was not expensive. A bolt of heavenly lightning cost 100,000. If he bought 1,000 bolts, wouldn't that be 100 million upper-grade spirit stones? 10,000 bolts would be 1 quadrillion upper-grade spirit stones. Little fairy, can this be cheaper? I bought too much. Give me a discount. Bai Mantu said pitifully. If you don't want to buy it, you can't give me a discount. Yun Chujio curled her lips. Damn it, you also had this day. Why didn't you think about the present when you harmed me? Discount? Don't even think about it. Bai Mantu's face wrinkled into a ball. He gritted his teeth and said, Little fairy, I really don't have that many spirit stones. How about this, they'll give you some heaven-rank spirit herbs from the great wilderness mystic realm, okay? Yun Chujia's heart skipped a beat. This was even better than spirit stones. Many spirit herbs here were extinct. With just a flip of her hand, she had more than 1 billion spirit stones. However, she frowned and said, "You really don't have any spirit stones?" "Little fairy, I really don't have any." Yun Chujio sighed and said, "All right, then I will reluctantly agree with you. Let me tell you, by Mantu. If the quality of the spirit herbs is not good, I don't want them." Bai Mantu nodded repeatedly. After forming a seal with both hands, it disappeared. 2 hours later, Bai Mantu returned and handed Yun Chujio a large pile of spirit medicine with soil. Yun Chujio glanced at it. Some recognized it and some didn't, however, the grades were indeed all heaven rank. She was very satisfied in her heart, but on the surface, she said with disdain, "Is this all?" Bai Mantu was afraid that Yun Chujio would not be satisfied, so he gritted his teeth and took out a few stalks. "Little fairy, this is all I have. Please be magnanimous and sell me some of the power of lightning." Yun Chujio put away the spiritual medicine and then returned some of the power of lightning to Bai Mantu. Bai Mantu almost cried when he saw the power of lightning in his hands again. Why did he have to do this? After going through all this, not only did it lose a lot of heaven-rank spirit herbs, but it also lost its integrity. It should never have gone against this stinky girl. She was not a human at all. She was a pervert. She was a devil. It decided that it would change that bullshit little Jioha to Devil River. Yun Chujio was satisfied. She could not be bothered with Bai Mantu. She hummed a little tune and left. Bai Mantu gritted his teeth. Although he hated Yun Chujio to death, he did not dare to find fault with her anymore. He prayed in his heart that he should hurry to the day when the mystic realm was closed. Otherwise, this wretched girl might go and find him uncomfortable. He was really afraid of this monster. 2 days later, the day when the great wilderness mystic realm was closed arrived. Everyone was sent out. Bai Mantu was completely relieved. He had finally sent that fiend away. Chapter 1368, Xue Wuji, who was forced to get married. The students of Tianyuan Academy were all sent out one after another. As they had obtained many high-level spiritual herbs in the Grand Desolate Realm, they were all extremely excited. I picked a low-level heaven-rank 7-leafed wooden lotus. I also picked a heaven-rank 7-leafed wooden lotus. I also picked several high-level earth-rank spiritual herbs. I really struck it rich. What are you guys talking about? Not only did Yin Sulian pick 2 sky-rank mid-grade red bead soaring heaven grass, but she also picked more than 10 earth-rank herbs. One of Yin Sulian's lackeys bragged. Yin Sulian revealed a smug look. "It's just good luck. It's nothing." That lackey immediately shouted, "This luck is also part of your strength." "Oh right, Yun Chujio, what did you pick?" Everyone's gaze focused on Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio sighed, "My luck isn't very good. I only picked a few stalks of black-grade spirit herbs. I can't compare to you guys." When everyone heard Yun Chujio's words, although they didn't dare to mock her on the surface, they all felt very disdainful in their hearts. TSK, what bad luck, to actually pick so few things. When Feng Ming and the other 2 saw this, they quietly said to Yun Chujio, "Junior sister Little Jio, we've picked a lot of good stuff. We'll give you some when we get back." Yun Chujio bared her little white teeth. "I'm lying to them. I'm not as stupid as them. If we get good stuff, we'll have to make a fortune in silence. If everyone knows about it, wouldn't it be bad if someone were to target us?" The corners of Feng Ming and the other 2's eyes twitched. "Alright, we're stupid too. Junior sister Jio is such a monstrous existence, how could she not get something good?" The things that the students picked could be exchanged for contribution points. Some of the students exchanged all the spirit herbs they picked for contribution points. Yun Chujio only took out a few stalks of black-grade spirit herbs to exchange for dozens of contribution points and received a pile of rolled eyes. Yun Chujio sneered in her heart. HMK, sister doesn't want to exchange. Otherwise, just the 9 nether stones in my storage ring would scare you to death. Yun Chujio felt the voice transmission talisman in the storage ring trembling. She took it out and took a look. One was Di Baiming's and the other was Shui Wuji's. Yun Chujio opened Di Baiming's first. Di Baiming's concerned voice came from inside. Little Jiu, did the Grand Desolate Realm trial go smoothly? Yun Chujio was not surprised that Di Baiming knew that she had gone to the Great Wilderness Mystic Realm. After all, the Tianyuan Academy could not hide such a huge piece of news. She replied a few simple sentences and then could not wait to open Shui Wuji's voice transmission talisman. This fellow really wanted to know if Shui Wuji had been forced into a successful marriage. Shui Wuji's sobbing voice came from the voice transmission talisman. Little Jiu, little sister, I'm sorry. I originally wanted to celebrate your birthday, but this old man is really too strict with me. However, little sister Jiu, don't worry. I will definitely visit you if I have the chance. Brother Wuji, I heard that you were forced to marry. What's the result? Yun Chujio asked with a wicked smile. Shui Wuji's gnashing voice came from the voice transmission talisman. Humph. I'm brave and unyielding. Victory will eventually belong to me. Yun Chujio almost burst out laughing. She suppressed her laughter and replied, Brother Wuji, I have high hopes for you. On the other side, Shui Wuji, who had been forced into a desperate marriage, was suddenly revived with full health. Little sister Jiu said that she has high hopes for me. I must not let down little sister Jiu's confidence in me. I must fight to the end. If my father has high hopes for that idiot, if it really doesn't work out, he can marry him himself. Chapter 1369, Lan Luchen's visit. Following the end of the trial, Tianyuan Academy regained its normal order. Yun Chujio had created dozens of refined iron puppets during her spare time. However, she realized that her spiritual sense could not be separated frequently, so after making 3 more puppet discs, she did not dare to continue. However, she felt that it was more or less enough. Even if the refined iron puppets were to be damaged, she could just change the puppet discs to better refined iron puppets. Yun Chujio still had a useless name, so the 5 puppets were, as expected, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5. This guy was still very proud of himself. The names that she had given him were so good that they could go down the list without ending. Even if she had tens of thousands of puppets in the future, she could still call them number 10,000. Not only did Yun Chujio build so many puppets, she also added a lot of chili noodles, rapeseed oil, and the like into her storage ring. This guy thought that it was always good to be prepared. Yin Haoyu, that old thing, had not made any moves, perhaps he was holding back some big move. That afternoon, Yun Chujio returned to the dormitory after class and was taking a nap when she heard someone knocking on the door outside the courtyard. Yun Chujio shouted impatiently, "Who is it? Why are you knocking in the middle of the day? It's so annoying." However, she still got up and walked out of the room angrily. She estimated that the person who came was most likely a dry old man. This old bastard had often come to study Yun Chujio's puppet number 1 ever since he knew about it. After Yun Chujio opened the courtyard door, she couldn't help but be stunned. There was a man standing at the door with a hint of melancholy in his eyes. Lan Luochen. What was he doing here? Yun Chujio was obviously from the Appearance Association. When she saw that beautiful face, she couldn't say anything drastic. She could only ask, Lan Luochen, are you looking for me? Lan Luochen nodded. Can I go in? Naturally, Yun Chujio could not reject him, so she let Lan Luochen into the courtyard. Lan Luochen glanced around and was very surprised. The courtyard was actually very warm. In addition to the flowers and plants in the courtyard, there were also 3 pear trees. The fruits on them had already matured and were emitting a sweet fragrance. Whether it was the swing under the tree or the stone table on the south side of the courtyard, they all made the entire courtyard seem extremely warm. Lan Luochen inexplicably liked this place. Yun Chujio saw that Lan Luochen had been looking at the Zhushan fruit trees. She thought to herself, could it be that he was craving for fruits? Hence, she picked a plate of fruits and said, "Eat a fruit. The taste is still not bad." Lan Luochen stretched out his hand to take the Zhushan fruit and said indifferently, "Thank you." Yun Chujio looked at Lan Luochen's hands and could not help but curse in her heart. What the hell was a man doing with such good-looking hands? Compared to his hands, her hands were like chicken feet. Lan Luochen did not eat the fruit but kept it in his storage ring. Then he said, "Yun Chujio, I came here this time to ask if you have picked any purple sunflower grass in the great wilderness. If you have it, I am willing to buy it at a high price, or you can use it to exchange for it." Yun Chujio's heart moved. Purple sunflower grass. Bai Mantu gave her a few stalks, but she didn't have any relationship with Lan Luochen, so why should she sell it to him? This purple sunflower grass was extinct now, and she might use it at any time, so she couldn't admit that she had it. Therefore, Yun Chujio said in surprise, "Purple sunflower grass. Isn't that a heaven-rank spiritual herb? I only picked a few black-rank spiritual herbs in it to exchange for contribution points. You'd better ask someone else." Chapter 1370, Purple Sky Sunflower Grass. When Lan Luochen heard Yun Chujio's words, the melancholy in his eyes became even more intense. He felt as if his entire being was immersed in sorrow. Yun Chujio could not help but ask, "What do you want the purple sky sunflower grass for?" "My mother has an old illness. The prescription only lacks a single purple sky sunflower grass. This time, I came to the Tian Yuan Academy to try my luck. After all, the Tian Yuan Academy often has some secret realm trials. Perhaps I can find the purple sky sunflower grass." I also had high hopes for this great wilderness secret realm, but unfortunately, I still didn't find the purple sky sunflower grass. I asked some of my classmates, but they didn't pick it, so I wanted to ask you. This was the first time Yun Chujio heard Lan Luochen talk so much. Seeing that he looked very sad, she couldn't bear it. However, she wasn't related to him, so naturally, she couldn't take out the spiritual medicine just because of sympathy, so she comforted him, "Maybe there's still a chance. You can ask someone else. Besides, there might be a new mystic realm trial in a few days, and you can find the purple sky sunflower grass yourself." Lan Luochen nodded, "I can only do that. Sorry to bother you, goodbye." After Lan Luochen said that, he turned around and left the courtyard. Yun Chujio's mouth opened and closed, but she still held back the words that came out of her mouth. It was better to ask the pretty boy to decide. Yun Chujio took out her voice transmission talisman and told him everything that happened. After a while, Di Baiming replied, "Lan Luchen's mother does have an old illness and the Lan family has been looking for purple sunflower grass at a high price. As for whether you want to sell it to him or not, it's up to you. I don't have any objections. It's just that I don't want to reveal my wealth. You should understand." Yun Chujio curled her lips. "You gigolo, you're really cunning. Why did you add that sentence after you have no objections? You just don't want me to sell it to Lan Luochen. Forget it. I'm not familiar with him anyway. There are many pitiful people in the world. Don't tell me I can't interfere." Yun Chujio persuaded herself and threw this matter to the back of her mind. Unexpectedly, after a few days, Lan Luochen came to visit again. Yun Chujia's heart couldn't help but beat faster. Could it be that Lan Luochen was certain that she had the purple sunflower grass? Otherwise, why would he come again? Yun Chujio let Lan Luochen into the courtyard. Naturally, she couldn't just sit there. Hence, Yun Chujio brewed a pot of tea. Needless to say, after the wife of the palace master's patient teachings, Yun Chujia's tea ceremony was still pretty decent. It was also quite pleasing to the eye. A trace of surprise flashed across Lan Luchen's eyes, but he did not say anything. He picked up the teacup and slowly sipped his tea. Seeing that he did not speak, Yun Chujio naturally did not want to be so cold. Hence, she picked up a few heroic deeds from the Huang class and started talking about them. This fellow originally wanted to ease the awkwardness, but he did not expect that once he mentioned his heroic performance, he would not be able to stop himself. He talked until he was beaming with joy. Lan Luochen listened quietly. He only asked a few questions occasionally, but Yun Chujio continued to talk more and more. Yun Chujio finally realized that she was talking too much. She looked at the time and realized that 2 hours had passed. This guy laughed dryly. "I'm really sorry, I talked too much. It's okay. Since I'm a member of the Huang class, I naturally want to know more about the Huang class. I'll come and listen to you in the future." "Oh right, these are our specialty products from the far north. I'll give them to you to try." Yun Chujio was about to refuse when Lan Luochen had already stood up and left the courtyard. Chapter 1371 Eating a man's mouth is short. Yun Chujio looked at the food on the stone table and then looked at Lan Luochen, who was far away. She felt that perhaps this person did not want to owe her a favor. Last time, he ate her pearl fruit, so this time, he gave her some special products. Anyway, they were not valuable. Since they were all sent here, she would accept them. This fellow would not admit that she had never eaten these food before, so she was a little greedy. A few days passed in a row, and Lan Luochen did not come again. He was still cold and indifferent during class, so Yun Chujio was relieved. It seemed that he had only returned the favor last time. Unexpectedly, this afternoon, Lan Luochen came again. Yun Chujio could not refuse him. Moreover, Lan Luochen was holding a plate of spirit fruits in his hand. "My family just sent it to you yesterday. I'll give it to you to have a taste. This kind of golden juicy tangerine is only available in our extreme north. It blooms once every 1,000 years, bears fruit once every 1,000 years, and ripens once every 1,000 years. Not only is the fruit sweet and delicious, even the skin is used to stew the meat." Although Yun Chujio tried her best to restrain herself, she still couldn't help but take a look at the plate of golden orange in Lan Luchen's hand. No matter how attractive the golden color was, this guy had already swallowed the polite words that were on the tip of his tongue. He let Lan Luochen into the courtyard. After Lan Luochen used the cleaning spell to wash his hands, his slender and fair hand peeled a golden orange and handed it to Yun Chujio. "Try it and see if I'm exaggerating." Yun Chujio took the tangerine and put it into her mouth. The sweet juice immediately flowed out, as if it was sweet to the heart. This guy immediately threw the remaining tangerine into his mouth and ate happily. It was the first time Lan Luochen saw someone smile so contentedly after eating a tangerine. He also smiled and helped Yun Chujio peel another tangerine. Yun Chujio did not stand on ceremony. She took it and ate it. As she ate, she said, "This golden juicy tangerine tastes really good. Thank you so much. It's just some food. It's not worth anything." Lan Luochen peeled the tangerine and said nonchalantly. It was not good for Yun Chujio to chase Lan Luochen away just like that. She continued to talk about the Huang class, but it turned into self-bragging. Lan Luochen relaxed when he heard her interesting talk. The sadness in his eyes disappeared. From this day on, Lan Luochen would give Yun Chujio some spiritual fruits and snacks every 3 to 5 days. He didn't talk much. He just drank tea and listened to Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio was a little reluctant at first, but she felt that it was not bad to have such an audience. After all, Feng Ming and the other two were busy cultivating. She didn't have any other friends. Moreover, Lan Luochen was very easy to let down one's guard. It was not just a matter of looks, but the faint melancholy from the inside out. No matter how hard she tried, she could not associate him with a vicious person. Yun Chujio was a very loyal person. Lan Luochen had sent things over and over again. This fellow felt that it would be unjustifiable if he did not take out the purple sky sunflower grass. Moreover, he did not ask for it for nothing when he said that he wanted to buy it. Thus, on this day, when Lan Luochen came again, Yun Chujio said, "Lan Luochen, did you say that the spiritual herb you were looking for last time was the purple sunflower grass?" Lan Luochen's eyes lit up. "Yes, could it be that you know who has it? The wife of the palace master of the Temple of Immortals is my aunt. She has one, and I shamelessly asked for it. Here, do you think it's what you want?" Yun Chujio took out a purple sunflower grass from her storage ring and handed it to Lan Luochen. Chapter 1372 came up. Lan Luochen trembled slightly as he took the purple sunflower grass from Yun Chujio. His eyes were red as he sobbed, "Yes, this is the purple sunflower grass. After searching for so many years, I've finally found it." After Lan Luochen calmed down, he said to Yun Chujio, "There's no need to thank me. This storage ring contains 1 billion upper-grade spirit stones. It's a small token of my appreciation. If you need me in the future, just say the word and I'll do my best." Lan Luochen had already prepared for Yun Chujio to pretend to reject him. Then, he saw Yun Chujio put away the storage ring without hesitation. Then, he said with a smile, "You have to keep your word. This purple sunflower grass is something that I've asked for with great difficulty. In the future, if I need you, you're not allowed to refuse." The corner of Lan Luochen's eyes twitched and he nodded, "As long as you make a request, I will do it." Perhaps because his mother's illness could be cured, although Lan Luochen's temperament was still a little melancholic, he was clearly more worldly than before. Occasionally, he would talk to the students of the Huang class, he would even occasionally smile. This smile was not a big deal. Many female students were instantly mesmerized and attracted even more suitors. Yun Chujio could not help but be secretly happy. It seemed that it was not a good thing to look too good. Just like how Lan Luochen and the gigolo were so troubled that people would stare at them like flies whenever they were free. However, her looks could be considered to be devastatingly beautiful. Why was no one mesmerized by her? On this day, Yun Chujio voiced out her doubts. Then, she saw the faces of Feng Ming and the other two stiffen. Finally, Feng Ming considered his words. "Junior sister Xiaojiu, you are indeed peerlessly beautiful, but we ordinary people really cannot bear it. Only a heaven's favorite like your esteemed self is worthy of you." Yun Chujio was not stupid. She naturally understood Feng Ming's subtext. Fuck, he just despised me for being too valiant. Humph. Poor taste. The gigolo was still the best. When she was the darkest, ugliest, and most useless, he had already seen through her and fell in love with her at first sight. Then, he pursued her in every way possible. Xiao Hanio was speechless. "Master, don't you feel guilty saying this? Who was the one who hugged the gigolo's thigh and said that he adored her? Who was the one who sent love letters and wrote love poems?" Ever since Yun Chujio sold the purple sunflower grass to Lan Luochen had been looking for Yun Chujio more frequently. Yun Chujio was also happy to have someone listen to her, so the two of them got along very well. Feng Ming found that Lan Luochen frequently entered and left Yun Chujio's courtyard, and Yun Chujio's impression of Lan Luochen was getting better and better. He was a little conflicted. He remembered what Di Biming had told him and gritted his teeth. He decided to become a traitor. After receiving Feng Ming's voice transmission talisman, Di Biming was so angry that he smashed the table into pieces with a slap. 3 days later, Tianyuan Academy was in an uproar. The esteemed one had arrived. Originally, many female students had already transferred their love for Di Biming to Lan Luochen. However, when they saw Di Biming, who was as cold as a god, they immediately felt conflicted. Oh my god, one ice and one water, which one should they choose? It was really too complicated. Di Biming and Dean Huangfu chatted for a moment before they got up and walked towards the dormitory area. Everyone was extremely curious. Why didn't your esteemed self go to the guest room to go to the student dormitory? Everyone followed behind and saw Di Biming arrive outside Yun Chujia's courtyard. Everyone understood that the palace master's wife must have asked your esteemed self to send something to Yun Chujio again. The palace master's wife was really good to Yun Chujio. Chapter 1373, Di Biming's jealousy. Yun Chujio didn't know the news of Di Biming's arrival. Although Feng Ming and the other two knew, no one told her. It had to be said that Di Biming was very prescient in this aspect. Before he took Yun Chujio down, he had already taken down everyone around her. If there was any news, it would reach Di Biming's ears. At this moment, Yun Chujio was drinking tea with Lan Luochen in the courtyard. There were 2 plates of pastries on the stone table. They were sent over by Lan Ruochen from the far north. Lan Ruochen frowned slightly. Someone was here. After a while, Yun Chujio also noticed it. She was very puzzled. Why did she feel that there were many people coming over? She hadn't done anything bad recently. Would anyone come to settle the score with her? Yun Chujio, come out and welcome me. Your Majesty is here. A teacher's voice sounded from outside the courtyard. Yun Chujia's eyes lit up and she ran towards the courtyard entrance. When she opened the courtyard door, she saw Di Biming staring at her with his dead fish eyes. This fellow suddenly felt a little guilty. Pooey. What am I guilty of? I haven't done anything wrong to the gigolo. Humph. After this fellow finished his mental preparation, he said with a smile, Brother Biming, did my aunt ask you to send me something again? Di Biming nodded, then he said with a straight face, that's right, my mother also wants me to tell you a few words. She wants you to study at the Tianyuan Academy so that you can cultivate properly, not come to drink tea and chat. If you don't cultivate properly, then drop out. No one had expected Di Biming to say such a thing. Furthermore, when they saw Lan Luochen and the teapot and pastries on the stone table in the courtyard, they immediately understood what Di Biming meant. It must be that the palace mistress knew that Yun Chujio and Lan Luochen had a close relationship, so she could not stop them openly. She must have asked the honored guest to pass on the message. However, why would the palace mistress not want Yun Chujio to have a relationship with Lan Luochen? Although Lan Luochen's family background was not comparable to the Longevity Palace, but it was 1,000 times stronger than Yun Chujia's. Moreover, Lan Luochen's appearance and spiritual power were both outstanding among people. The palace master's wife's objection was too unreasonable. Yun Chujio never thought that Di Biming would say this. Of course, she understood that this was not the palace master's wife's intention. It must be the damn gigolo who was jealous. Damn it, aren't you being too jealous? You came all the way here just to make me lose face. Yun Chujia's little face sank. Brother Biming, please tell my aunt that my tea and chatting did not delay my cultivation. Moreover, it's up to me whether I quit school or not. Even my aunt can't interfere with me. When Di Biming saw that Yun Chujio actually contradicted him in front of everyone, his aura became even colder. The people around Di Biming could not help but shiver. Yun Chujio was in trouble. His Majesty was about to get angry. Yun Chujio, since you are so stubborn, then I can only follow my mother's orders and take you back to the Temple of Immortals. Di Baiming stared at Yun Chujio and said. Yun Chujio was so angry that her face was red. If you dare to take me away, I will hang myself in your Temple of Immortals. When Di Baiming heard Yun Chujio's words, he was even more furious. The black thing must have a good impression of that Lan Luochen. Otherwise, she would not treat him like this. She must have mistaken Lan Luochen for that mermaid. Thinking back to the time when she drew the portrait of that mermaid, she even talked about some he issues. It was simply infuriating. Chapter 1374. She had a fiancé when the atmosphere was tense. Lan Luochen said calmly, Your Excellency, Yun Chujio and I are classmates. It shouldn't be inappropriate for us to drink tea after class and exchange our cultivation experiences, right? If Aunt Yi is dissatisfied, I'll ask my mother to explain it to her in person another day. Aunt Yi. Everyone, including Yun Chujio, was stunned. The wife of the palace lord was called Yi Jin's. Why did Lan Luochen call her Aunt Yi? And he even asked his mother to pay a visit. Could it be that Lan Luochen's mother knew the wife of the palace lord? Di Baiming understood the reason. It was only when he investigated Lan Luochen this time that he found out that Lan Luochen's mother was one of Di Linhan's 3 junior sisters, Chu Lingyun. Ever since the palace lord's wife and Di Linhan got married, the palace lord's wife had used all sorts of methods to make Di Linhan basically cut off all contact with his 3 junior sisters. They had not contacted each other for many years. If it wasn't for Di Baiming sending people to investigate the Lan family in detail, he really wouldn't have known about this relationship. Young Master Lan, little Jiu is pure-hearted and doesn't know that people are evil. That's why my mother is very worried about her. She hopes that you will stay away from her in the future. Di Baiming had never been a person who gave people face. When he saw that Lan Luochen had taken the initiative to send himself to his death, he naturally wouldn't be polite. Lan Luochen smiled faintly, then, he looked at Di Baiming with a burning gaze. Although Aunt Yi is Yun Chujio's elder, she doesn't have the right to stop her from having a normal relationship with her classmates, right? Or do you really not want Yun Chujio to have a relationship with me? Di Baiming's eyebrows suddenly stood up. Such an obvious provocation could only mean one thing. Damn it, this Lan Luochen really had improper thoughts towards black things. Yun Chujio knew that something bad was going to happen. The pretty boy was so agitated, he would definitely announce their relationship. Forget it, let's just say it. Although she was not too strong now, as long as she did not show off, it was not a problem to keep her little life. Di Baiming clenched his fists, almost blurting out his relationship with Yun Chujio. But when he thought of the Gui Yuan sect and Medicine Valley, once the news was announced, little Jiu would definitely be in trouble again. The Yin family's matter had not been completely settled. If it caused the jealousy of Qin Mingzhu and Bailey Yan, the 2 idiots, little Jiu's situation would be even more dangerous. Di Baiming thought of this. He looked at Lan Luochen coldly. Young Master Lan, no matter if it's my mother or me, I don't want little Jiu to be too close to you. Because little Jiu's elders have already arranged a marriage for her. So if she is too close to you, it will be very difficult for us to explain to her fiancé in the future. When everyone heard Di Baiming's words, they immediately exploded. What? Yun Chujio has a fiancé? Why haven't I heard of it before? We aren't familiar with her, so it's not strange that we don't know. No wonder your majesty is so angry. Since this Yun Chujio has a fiancé, she is indeed too intimate with that Lan Luochen. Yes, although we cultivators don't have so many restrictions, we still have to have basic etiquette. Since she has a fiancé, she shouldn't be too intimate with other men. I heard that Lan Luochen would come to Yun Chujio's dormitory every few days. That's right. This man and woman are always together. It's really hard to say. Yun Chujio was about to explode from anger when she heard everyone's discussion. However, she did not dare to refute Di Biming. She knew that this was already Di Biming's biggest concession, so she could only remain silent in anger. Pretty boy, just you wait. Wait until there's no one else. See how he'll deal with you. Chapter 1375 The vinegar jar becomes the essence. Lan Luochen saw that Yun Chujio did not speak and knew that what Di Biming said should be true. He felt a wave of disappointment in his heart. If Di Biming did not come today to break through this layer of window paper, he would not have felt his thoughts. He did not expect to be frozen to death by a basin of cold water as soon as it sprouted. Your Excellency, even if Yun Chujio has a fiancé, this does not affect the normal relationship between her and her classmates, right? Although Lan Luchen's heart was in turmoil, his face was still indifferent. Di Biming said coldly, of course it won't affect her normal interactions, but isn't young Master Lan coming to Little Nine's courtyard a little too frequently? Moreover, since young Master Lan's purpose in coming to Tianyuan Academy has already been achieved, shouldn't he continue to return to the Heaven's Fate Academy to study? A trace of displeasure flashed in Lan Luchen's eyes. Your Excellency, it's my freedom to study where I want. Your control is a little too broad. Although the Temple of Immortals has a high status, our northernmost land is not the territory of your Temple of Immortals. Please be more polite. Young Master Lan, are you trying to provoke me by saying this? Although the Lan family can be considered as well known in the northernmost land, you are not qualified to challenge me. Di Biming's aura became even colder. Even Dean Huangfu, who had a high level of spiritual power, felt a little uncomfortable. What was surprising was that Lan Luochen was not afraid at all. He sneered and said, everyone says that the Supreme Emperor is overbearing. The rumors are true. Just because I didn't do what you want to destroy our Lan family? How outrageous. Yun Chujio saw that the two of them were getting more and more aggressive. It was about to escalate to a fight between two major forces. She quickly came out to smooth things over. Brother Biming, Lan Luochen, stop arguing. It's a big deal. I'll be more careful in the future. Brother Biming, what good stuff did my aunt give me? Come in and give it to me. Coincidentally, I have something that I need you to bring back to my aunt. Lan Luochen, you should go back first. We will discuss the materialization of spiritual energy another day. Yun Chujio winked at Lan Luochen. Of course, Lan Luochen did not want to have a conflict with Di Biming. Seeing that Yun Chujio gave him a way out, he said calmly, all right, since that's the case, let's talk another day. Goodbye. After Lan Luochen finished speaking, he did not even look at Di Biming. He squeezed through the crowd and left. Yun Chujio saw Di Biming staring at her like a dead fish. He was like a wooden stake that was emitting cold air. She could only say, Brother Biming, come in. Di Biming gritted his teeth and followed Yun Chujio into the courtyard. Then, he waved his hand and the courtyard door closed with a bang. He even activated the isolation array. Although the people outside were extremely curious, they could not see what was happening inside. Black Thing, you've really grown up. You actually dared to talk back to me for such a thing. And you even went to the Temple of Immortals to hang yourself. If you want to die, why don't you die now for me to see? Di Biming was so angry that he smashed the stone table into pieces with one palm. Yun Chujio was also angry. She had been holding back her anger for a long time. However, she did not lose her temper just now because of the presence of others. Now that she heard Di Biming say this, she immediately placed her hands on her waist and pointed at Di Biming's nose to scold him. Pretty boy, you still have the face to scold me? What is it that you don't know how to tell me properly? You even brought a large group of people here. Are you trying to catch me in the act? Didn't I just chat with Lan Luochen a few times? Do you have to be so jealous? You are so jealous. Chapter 1376. Get lost. When Di Baiming saw Yun Chujio say this, he became even angrier. Black thing, how dare you speak your mind? Did you just chat with that damn Lan Luochen a few times? Did my mother teach you the tea ceremony so that you could make tea for him? It's fine if you sold him the purple sunflower grass, but you still hang out with him all day. Could it be that you felt that he looked like that mermaid, so you fell in love with him? Since when have I been hanging out with him? Aren't we just drinking tea and chatting? You're just narrow-minded, you're just jealous, you're just unreasonable. Yun Chujio felt very wronged. I don't have any other thoughts. What right does a pretty boy have to malign me? I'm narrow-minded? If I was narrow-minded, I wouldn't have let you come to Tianyuan Academy. I should have locked you up in the Hall of Immortals. You're always fooling around. It wasn't easy for Shui Wuji to stop fooling around. You got me another Lan Luochen. Didn't he just give you some fruits and pastries? Are you that greedy? Am I lacking in your food or your clothes? Di Baiming stomped on the plate of pastries on the ground and crushed it. You're the one who's fucking greedy. Lan Luochen is more understanding and gentle than you. You're an overbearing and unreasonable bastard. Get lost. Yun Chujio was about to go crazy from anger. I'm just a little greedy. Do you have to say that about me? Di Baiming heard Yun Chujio praise Lan Luochen and belittle him. His face turned white from anger. Good. Very good. Black thing. You're really ruthless. Since you think so highly of him, he'll get lost. He'll never appear in front of you again. After Di Baiming finished speaking, he slammed his palm onto the courtyard gate. Not to mention the courtyard gate, even the isolation array was shattered by this palm strike. Some onlookers were looking outside the courtyard. They were blasted hundreds of feet away by the remaining force of Di Baiming's palm strike. Even Dean Huangfu and the other teachers with profound spiritual power were forced back a few steps. It could be seen how furious Di Baiming was. Dean Huangfu, I still have something to do. Goodbye. Di Baiming said to Dean Huangfu with an ashen face. Dean Huangfu didn't dare to say anything and could only say, Your Excellency, please take care. Di Baiming flicked his sleeves and left. In just a few breaths, he had disappeared without a trace. Dean Huangfu looked at the courtyard again. The stone table had already turned into stone powder. There was no need to mention the courtyard door. It had already turned into dregs. Fortunately, Yun Chujio was still intact. It must have been a quarrel between the two of them. This little 9 girl really knew how to be evil. She had actually angered the Exalted One to such an extent. Sigh, young people really know how to cause trouble. Dean Huangfu sighed and also left. The other teachers also dispersed. The surrounding students even ran away, afraid that Yun Chujio would vent her anger on them. Yun Chujio casually pointed at a student from the Huang class. Go and find a few odd-job workers for me. Fix the courtyard door for me. That student went to fix the gate. Yun Chujio's words were absolutely useful in the Huang class. After a while, a few servants came to fix the gate. Yun Chujio was so angry that she paced back and forth in the yard. Damn it! Damn it! Damn that gigolo! He always played this trick on her. He always wanted to break up with her. Don't ever show your face to me. Damn Debiu! Always jealous, damn it! Let's call it pickled fish. Chapter 1377. The miserable Feng Ming. Yun Chujio was so angry that she didn't even eat her dinner. After scolding the pretty boy thousands of times, she got up and started eating. Damn it, she couldn't punish herself with other people's mistakes. She should eat and drink. Damn it, How did the pretty boy know that Lan Luochen and I are close? Could it be that he has spies in Tianyuan Academy? It must be so. Damn it, if he knows who betrayed me, I will kill him. Feng Ming, who was wearing a bitter face, sneezed fiercely. Gung Yi, Shi Xian, you must save me. With junior sister Jiu's intelligence, she will definitely guess that I betrayed her. She must torture me to death. Shi Xian smiled bitterly and said, you have already done it, why are you afraid that she will know? I am also doing it for junior sister Jiu and your excellency, okay? Lan Luochen ran to junior sister Jiu's dormitory for no reason. It was obvious that he had no good intentions. It was a boil that would come out sooner or later. I just moved the time forward, Feng Ming said righteously. Gung Yi pursed his lips and said, since you are so righteous, why are you afraid that junior sister Jiu will know? Although I think I did the right thing, junior sister Jiu might not think so. You also know that junior sister Little Nine has a belly full of bad water. If I knew this, I would have no way to live. You guys quickly help me think of a way. Feng Ming was about to cry. Shi Xian thought for a moment and said, although junior sister Little Nine is naughty, she won't go too far. You can go and beg for forgiveness tomorrow morning. Maybe you will suffer less. Otherwise, if she finds out, you will probably suffer. Feng Ming also knew that there was no other good way, so he could only agree with a bitter face. The next morning, Feng Ming came to the outside of Yun Chujia's courtyard. Little Ninth Junior Sister, Little Ninth Junior Sister. Feng Ming called out carefully. Senior brother Feng Ming, what do you want from me? Yun Chujio didn't sleep well the whole night. She had just fallen asleep in the morning when Feng Ming woke her up. One could imagine how bad her face must be. Feng Ming immediately swallowed his words. I'd better come another time. Saying it now would be equivalent to courting death, so he said, junior sister Little Jiu, I brought you breakfast. Feng Ming gave the breakfast that he had prepared for himself to Yun Chujio and then ran away as if he was flying. Yun Chujio looked at the breakfast in her hand and her heart warmed. Senior brother Feng Ming was probably worried that she had not eaten last night because of anger, so he brought her breakfast early in the morning. If she had known earlier, she would have treated him better just now. Feng Ming delivered breakfast for 3 days in a row. Finally, on the 4th day, he mustered up his courage and said, junior sister Little Ninth, actually, I was the one who reported the secret to your esteemed self. I was also doing it for the two of you. That Lan Luochen clearly has no good intentions. Even if I didn't say it, your esteemed self would have found out sooner or later. Senior brother Feng Ming, sigh, I originally thought that you and I would be closer than being close to a gigolo. I didn't expect that you would actually betray me. I'm really too sad. Yun Chujio actually guessed that Feng Ming was the snitch on the 2nd day. This guy was really mean. He deliberately didn't expose it, but it made Feng Ming's heart beat continuously. She felt that this kind of knife hanging above her head without falling down was even more torturous. Feng Ming saw that Yun Chujio revealed an extremely disappointed expression. He immediately panicked. Junior sister Little Jiu, I really did this for your own good. I promise that I will only do it once. Next time, even if your esteemed self uses a knife to force me, I will not betray you again. Chapter 1378, Palace Master Zhang's wife lecturing her son, forget it, it's just this once. Senior brother Feng Ming, if there's a next time, HMPH, you know what I mean. Yun Chujio also knew that Feng Ming's intentions were good. Feng Ming did not expect to pass so easily. His heart that had been in suspense for several days finally relaxed. On the other side, the secret guards of the Temple of Immortals were considered to be unlucky. After Di Biming returned to the Temple of Immortals, he began the Hell Devil training. Even an Een could not stand it anymore. The palace mistress also heard the news, so she called Di Biming over. When the palace mistress saw Di Biming's appearance, she knew that something must have happened. The cold air on Di Biming's body could freeze people to death. Biming, what's wrong with you? Nothing. You little brat, if you have something to say, just say it. Why are you always holding it in? Did you get into a fight with little Jill? The hall master's wife had a headache over Di Biming's character of not saying anything at all. The hall master's wife was very surprised. She did not expect Di Biming to really admit it, hence, she said, what's going on? Tell mother. Mother is also a woman. Perhaps she can understand little Joe's thoughts. Mother will help you to analyze it. Di Biming had not been able to eat or sleep well for the past few days. When he saw the hall master's wife asking, his eyes turned slightly red. He felt that he had not done anything wrong. Little Joe's actions were really too heartbreaking. After Di Biming explained the matter briefly, the hall master's wife smashed the coffee table with a single slap. Damn it! Chu Lingyun, that slut, had fought with me for Ling Han when she was young. Now her son is fighting with my son for a wife. What a slut son. Your father even helped that bitch look for the purple sunflower grass. He thought I didn't know. I just didn't want to be calculative with a person who is about to die. I didn't expect that bitch's son actually wanted my daughter-in-law. This is really outrageous. The corner of Di Biming's eyes twitched violently. If his mother had heard his father calling her a bitch, the two of them would probably bicker again. Biming, although little Nine's actions were a little inappropriate, you also know that little Nine is naive and romantic. She doesn't have any female elders to teach her since she was young, so it's inevitable that she won't care about small details. She definitely didn't think of anything else. She's naturally wholeheartedly devoted to you. However, with you making such a big fuss and talking so excessively, of course the little girl can't take it. Moreover, if they were quarreling, why did you come back? You have to talk things out before you come back. Aren't you giving that Lon Luochen a chance? Silly son, don't do this next time. Hurry up and find a time to talk things out with little Nine. Girls need to be coaxed. You have to change this bad temper of yours. Otherwise, you will still have to quarrel with little Nine in the future. The palace master's wife advised him earnestly. Okay, I got it, Di Biming said in a muffled voice. Actually, after his anger had subsided, he had calmed down and regretted it. However, when he heard Yun Chuzhou say that, he could not control himself at all. Moreover, this time, it was Black Thing who had done something wrong. Why should he admit his mistake? He just did not admit his mistake. He did not believe that Black Thing would not come to find him. Di Biming decided to have a cold war, so the secret guards of the Temple of Immortals continued to live in misery, and Yin could only secretly send a message to Anfeng, quickly think of a way to make Ninth Miss and Your Excellency reconcile. Otherwise, our lives will be worse than death. Although Anfeng was far away from the center of the storm, he was still quite loyal. Taking advantage of the opportunity that Yun Chuzhou came to deliver the talisman, he eagerly asked, Ninth Miss, you are quarreling with our Excellency. Chapter 1379 The Taste of Love. Yun Chuzhou snorted coldly, how did you know? Did the gigolo tell you? Anfeng heard this and even called the gigolo. This must be 100% awkward, he carefully said to Yun Chuzhou, Miss Zhou, Your Excellency would never tell me these things. It's just that the secret guards of the Temple of Immortals have been living a more complicated life recently, and they have all come to me for help. Can you please forgive me and make up with our Excellency? Yun Chuzhou was secretly happy. Anfeng was really good at talking. She nodded and said, all right, you secret guards have also helped me a lot. This time, I will give you face. I will reluctantly forgive the gigolo. Miss Zhou, then can you send a voice transmission talisman to Our Excellency? Once Our Excellency hears your voice, he will definitely be in a good mood. My brothers will also be saved, Anfeng said flatteringly. Yun Chuzhou was amused. Alright, I'll send it when I get back. Don't worry, I'll keep my word. Anfeng was finally relieved. He sent someone to escort Yun Chuzhou back to the academy and immediately told An the news. An then felt that he had something to look forward to in life. After Yun Chuzhou returned to the dormitory, she took out the voice transmission talisman and went into a daze. In the past few days, she had also reflected on it. If she were to put herself in his shoes, she would also be furious if the gigolo would chat and drink tea with his female classmates whenever he was free. Therefore, it was not unforgivable for the gigolo to be angry. However, the gigolo would break off their relationship at any time. This bad habit was really detestable. She had to turn things around for him. Di Biming was training the dark guards in a cold atmosphere. He felt the voice transmission talisman in his storage ring vibrate. When he took it out and saw that it was sent by Yun Chuzhou, his hand trembled slightly. Little Jiu sent him a voice transmission talisman. Did she realize her mistake? Was she apologizing to him? Humph. Even if she apologized, I won't forgive her so easily. I won't even look at her voice transmission talisman. Di Biming gritted his teeth and stuffed the voice transmission talisman back into his storage ring. He was prepared to ignore Yun Chuzhou's voice transmission talisman. However, in less than 10 breaths, he took out the voice transmission talisman again. Humph. This lord was magnanimous. There was no harm in listening to her apology. Male god, sigh, I know I was wrong. Di Biming was very pleased when he heard this. The black thing was really here to apologize to him. Indeed, I shouldn't have been intimate with Lan Luochen. Although I have a clear conscience, I am someone who has a boyfriend after all, so I was wrong about this matter. When Di Biming heard this, his mood was extremely good. He felt that the depressed mood he had for so many days had completely disappeared. But, you have already said that you will never appear in front of me again. I'm afraid that I won't have the chance to be with you again. My heart is broken. Prince Charming, my heart has already been broken into 108 pieces. I'm living a life worse than death right now. Just treat it as if I'm dead. Yun Chuzhou's voice was filled with tears at the end of her sentence. When Di Biming heard it, his heart almost ached to death. He did not care about whether he could forgive or not. He quickly took out the voice transmission talisman and said, Little Jiu, I said it in anger. I will come and see you in a few days. On the other side, Yun Chuzhou was sitting cross-legged on the bed. She was nervously staring at the voice transmission talisman. After seeing the voice transmission talisman tremble, she quickly sent her spiritual sense in. After hearing Di Biming's words, her heart felt sweet, sour, and a little bitter. She couldn't help but cry. She touched her chest. Was this the taste of love? Chapter 1380, Little Jiu likes me. Yun Chuzhou wiped her tears with her sleeve and said to the voice transmission talisman in a low voice, yes. On the other side, Di Biming was sweating profusely. When he heard the yes, the worry in his heart instantly turned into a soft feeling. An. Go to the Tianyuan Academy with me immediately. An heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. Oh my God, the rain has finally passed and the sky is clear. Our revered lord was completely eaten up by Miss Jiu. Previously, he was so angry that he looked like a dead man. Who would have thought that Miss Jiu would use a voice transmission talisman? Our esteemed lord is so eager to go over. 3 days later, Di Biming arrived at the Tianyuan Academy. This time, he directly activated the concealment talisman and did not alert anyone else. Yun Chuzhou was sitting on the recliner and muttering to the little black bird, "Xiao Hei, do you think the gigolo has really forgiven me?" "Master, didn't the gigolo say that he came to see you?" "Then he has forgiven you." Sigh. "Actually, Lan Luochen is really a good person. I just treat him as an ordinary friend. The gigolo is too jealous. But, I thought about it. If he and Qin Mingzhu or Bailey Yan also drink tea and chat from time to time, my heart would be burning with anger. So, I'd better not interact with him in the future." "Master, if you met Lan Luochen first and not the gigolo, which person would you choose?" Xiao Hanio stared at him with his bean-like eyes and asked curiously. Di Baiming, who was hiding in the dark, felt his heart stop beating. He clenched his fists and stared nervously at Yun Chuzhou. An was about to cry. Miss Jiu, please don't give me any bad answers. Otherwise, we will continue to live in hell." No one expected Yun Chuzhou to giggle. "Xiao Hei, your question is too lame. There are no assumptions. Love doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter who is good. Anyway, I now think that the gigolo is pretty good. Although he is a little arrogant and always leaves home for me, I still like him. Moreover, when I was the ugliest and most useless person, the gigolo actually fell in love with me at first sight. This means that the gigolo loves my inner self. How can I not like such a gigolo?" Di Baiming, who was hiding in the dark, was stunned when he heard Yun Chuzhou's words. Joy slowly spread from the bottom of his heart. There was only one voice in his mind, "Little Jiu likes me, little Jiu likes me." "Master, then you won't bother with Lan Luochen in the future? A gentleman's friendship is as light as water. I have to consider the gigolo's feelings. Otherwise, that Sundara will definitely smash the door again." Puzzled. Other people lack metal, wood, water, fire, and earth, but does he lack a door? He just uses the door to vent his anger. That's enough. Lack of a door in the 5 elements. An almost laughed out loud. Di Baiming glared at An before coughing and revealing himself. Yun Chuzhou was stunned when she saw Di Baiming. Then, she wailed, "Woo, damn gigolo, didn't you say that you would never see me again? Why are you still here? You bastard." Di Baiming hugged Yun Chuzhou in his arms and said solemnly, "Black thing, I promise you that I will never say that I will never say that I will never see you again. Even if you use a rolling pin to chase me away, I will never leave you." An felt that his teeth were a little sore. Damn, this was too shocking. Our Lord could actually say such words. I can only say that Miss Jiu is awesome. Chapter 1381, I'm going to skip a grade HMPH. You still want me to die in front of you? You still want me to be greedy? You still want me to be greedy? Oh, that damn gigolo. He just started to kiss each other whenever they didn't get along. Really, oh, I'm going to faint. An and Xiao Hanio took the initiative to fill a corner with mushrooms. They hated it when they started to kiss each other whenever they wanted. It was simply a sure-kill technique to torture a single dog. The two of them were kissing until the sky turned dark. There was a knock on the door from outside. Yun Chuzhou, the house has sent over some golden tangerines. I've brought them for you. Di Baiming did not give Yun Chuzhou a chance to reply at all. He attacked even more ferociously. Yun Chuzhou was already in a daze from the kiss. How could she still have the time to reply to Lan Luochen? Lan Luochen repeated it a few times. When he saw that there was still no answer, he thought that perhaps Yun Chuzhou was not in the dormitory. He would come back tomorrow. Di Baiming felt that Lan Luochen had gone far away, so he let go of Yun Chuzhou and said, "Humph, he really doesn't want to give up. If I'm not here, would you have tea and chat with him again?" Of course not. Since I know that you are not happy that I have a close relationship with him, I naturally have to keep a distance from him. Yun Chujio pouted. HMPH, it's best if that's the case. If I find out that you don't keep your word, I will definitely tie you up and bring you back to the Temple of Immortals. Prince Charming, don't worry. I always keep my word. Yun Chujio pursed her lips in her heart. Brat, you still want to tie me up? Why don't you try tying me up? I'll kill you. Di Biming nodded, but he was calculating in his heart. That damned Lan Luochen and Little Jiao were desk mates. This won't do. I have to find Dean Huangfu and separate them. In case Little Jiao's position wasn't firm and was fooled by that damned Lan Luochen again. Before Di Biming left, he went to Dean Huangfu and told him his intentions. Dean Huangfu naturally agreed. This wasn't a big deal, as long as this fiend didn't lose his temper again. Hence, Yun Chujio was moved to the same table as Feng Ming. Lan Luochen naturally understood that this was Di Biming's trick. He laughed coldly in his heart. He even said that Yun Chujio had a fiancée. It was obvious that Di Biming didn't like him. The way he looked at Yun Chujio was clearly the gaze of a lover. Everyone had been deceived by him. So what if they were not desk mates? The distance between me and Yun Chujio is much closer than you. I don't believe that Yun Chujio would be such an overbearing and unreasonable boor. For the next period of time, Lan Luochen did not go to look for Yun Chujio. Usually, when they met, they would just nod and greet each other. Yun Chujio heaved a sigh of relief in her heart. This was the best. Otherwise, she really did not know how to reject him and look for her again. Recently, Yun Chujio had been thinking about something. This fellow wanted to skip a grade. If one wanted to complete the Tianyuan Academy's curriculum within 3 years, then one had to skip a grade in order to achieve it. Hence, this fellow hopped and went to look for Dean Huangfu. Dean. I want to skip a grade. There are conditions for skipping a grade. You have to be in the top 10 in this year's mid-year competition before you have the right to skip a grade. Dean Huangfu wasn't too surprised. After all, this fellow's leveling speed was too fast. It's that simple. Then I understand, Dean. Goodbye. Yun Chujio said and left again. Dean Huangfu was so angry that his nose was crooked. You left after asking. You really don't take me, a dignified dean, seriously. Besides, it's simple. Although your talent is indeed abnormal, I heard that you haven't learned the intermediate materialized spell yet. Moreover, the uncertainty of the competition is very high. Are you sure that you can enter the top 10? Chapter 1382 Earth-penetrating spiritual mushroom. Soon, it was the day of the mid-year grand competition. Dean Huangfu carried out a routine mobilization before the grand competition. After he was done with the formalities, he went straight to the point. The location of this year's mid-year grand competition is the Misty Valley. Do you think that this is just an ordinary valley from the name? In reality, it isn't. The location of the Misty Valley isn't fixed every time, and it only appears for a month at a time. After you enter, you won't be able to leave midway. It's extremely dangerous inside, and there's a ban on flying and the use of talismans. If there are any students who want to give up, you can step forward now. Being eliminated is better than losing your life. After Dean Huangfu finished speaking, he looked around. Although many of the students had looks of unease on their faces, no one stepped forward. He continued, your mission this time is to collect the underground spiritual mushroom. This underground spiritual mushroom is extremely precious and can only be found in the Misty Valley. It is different from other spiritual mushrooms. You cannot see its tracks on the ground. You can only rely on your sharp observation skills to discover its location. Moreover, this kind of spiritual mushroom can move quickly underground, therefore, it's very difficult to pick it. Your results will be determined by the number and quality of the underground spiritual mushrooms you pick. Yun Chujio found it quite interesting after hearing it. In the modern era, there was a kind of high-grade ingredient called truffle. It also grew underground and relied on a little pig with a sharp sense of smell to find it. She had even tried it once. TSK, it was really not easy to find one. In this year's mid-year competition, Deputy Dean Xiao was still leading the team. After everyone boarded the flying spirit tool, they set off to the place where they discovered the Misty Valley. 3 days later, the flying spirit tool arrived at the Misty Valley. There were already some cultivators gathered outside the Misty Valley. They were probably here to collect the earth-burrowing spirit mushroom. After all, this kind of spirit mushroom was very precious. Fortunately, the Misty Valley was very large. Once people entered, they basically scattered. Yun Chujia's heart stirred. The Yin family was probably going to make a move this time. This was a perfect opportunity for an ambush. Therefore, after entering the Misty Valley, Yun Chujio said to Feng Ming and the other two, senior brothers, let's split up. Although Feng Ming and the other two didn't understand, they were used to listening to Yun Chujia's arrangements. They could only nod and agree. Yun Chujio randomly picked a direction and hopped away. Yun Chujio dug as she walked, but she did not find the so-called underground spiritual mushroom. Fuck! Where was this damn mushroom hidden? Could it be extinct? Yun Chujio complained as she walked deeper. The deeper she went, the more dense the fog became. Fortunately, Yun Chujio had the luminous pearl, so it was not too much of a problem. As the sky gradually darkened, the fog also grew larger. Yun Chujio's luminous pearl could only illuminate a range of 30 feet. Yun Chujio finally found a cave. Although it was dirty and full of animal remains, it was still safer than outside. Yun Chujio used the cleaning spell to clean up the debris in the cave, then lit a bonfire and spread a snow cashmere blanket on the ground. The temporary residence was finally completed. Yun Chujio had a simple dinner. After extinguishing the bonfire, she asked the 3 little ones to take turns to be on guard and fall asleep. While she was half asleep, Xiao He woke Yun Chujio up. Yun Chujio heard the sound of footsteps. Yun Chujio immediately jumped out of the cave silently. Taking advantage of the fog, she hid behind a mountain rock. She took off her spirit ring and carefully held her breath. Chapter 1383 was going to be a good show. Not long after, the sound of footsteps was getting closer and closer. Because of the fog, Yun Chujio could not see the person's clothes and appearance clearly. She could only see about a dozen people. Could they be from the Yin family? There's a cave here. This is great. We don't have to spend the night outside, someone said excitedly. That's right, ever since we entered the misty forest, we've been suffering. We can't see the sun all day long, and we're almost turning into mushrooms. It's a pity that not many people came to the misty forest this time to look for earth-burrowing spiritual mushrooms. I'm afraid it's impossible to catch some big fish. What you said isn't right. This time, not only can we catch a big fish, but we can also catch the biggest fish. The second-year students of Tianyuan Academy are all here, and there's the person we're looking for the most. We can use this opportunity to catch her. Are you talking about that smelly girl, Yun Chujio? That's right. Last time, Dharma Protector Tao only had time to send 2 words to Vice Palace Master Lu, Yun Chujio. Vice Palace Master Lu sent someone to investigate. It turns out that Yun Chujio is the daughter of the Palace Master's wife's old friend. The last time Dharma Protector Tao attacked the Temple of Immortals, that smelly girl was a guest at the Temple of Immortals. Dharma Protector Tao would not say her name for no reason. I reckon that our plan last time was ruined by her hands. This isn't possible, right? Isn't Yun Chujio just a teenage girl? How could she be so capable? Dharma Protector Tao might be trying to convey something else. No matter what, let's capture her first. Even if she didn't do it, it's not a bad idea to use her to blackmail the Temple of Immortals. There are also other people. Capture them alive if they are useful. Kill those who are not. Yun Chujio was shocked. They were not from the Yin family. They were from the Netherworld Palace. They had sneaked into the misty forest to kill them. With just a dozen of them. Was there something wrong with them? At this moment, those people had already started a bonfire and were chatting while eating. Boss, we can't let the other teams get ahead of us. If we can capture that brat Yun Chujio, that would be a great achievement. You're right. Everyone, rest well. We'll start the operation tomorrow. Yun Chujio suddenly realized that there were other people. As she said, these dozen people were simply overestimating themselves. Yun Chujio touched her chin. There were 16 people here, and none of them could be seen through by her. At the very least, they were at the 6th level of the Spirit Saint realm. How could she kill them all? Release poison. Something was wrong. The wind direction was not right, and the poisonous smoke could not blow into the cave. Release puppets. It was also not right. There were too many of them, and she did not have the confidence to win. What should she do? Yun Chujio raised her head and looked around. She found that the cliff was very steep, and it was very high. She rolled her eyes and had an idea. Hee, scum, there will be a good show to watch. After more than an hour, the people in the cave left one person to guard while the others fell asleep. Yun Chujio took out the sticky silk and quietly climbed up the cliff. Go Weiba, your chance to redeem yourself is here. Hurry up and hook up with the demon beasts. I want to turn these scum into food for the demon beasts. Go Weiba had been in the wrong recently. He was eager to have a chance to please Yun Chujio, so he started to hook up with the demon beasts. In the cave, those people were sleeping soundly. The person in charge of guarding the cave suddenly shouted, "Wake up! Wake up! Why is the ground shaking? And listen, there seems to be a lot of demonic beasts roaring. Could it be a beast tide?" Chapter 1384, Savage Scum. Those people turned their ears to listen. Sure enough, the roars of beasts came from far away and near. It seemed that they were really coming this way. Boss, what should we do? Should we run? Everyone was panicking. It doesn't make sense. Even if there is a beast tide, the demon beasts should be running towards the entrance of the Misty Valley. Why would they run here? Let's take a look again. Where should we run to? This place is covered in dense fog. We have no idea where is safe. The leader thought for a moment and said. Everyone could only obey his order and stared at the outside of the cave with full vigilance. After a short while, the roars of the demon beasts that sounded like a tsunami were heard nearby. Countless demon beasts rushed over from the dense fog. The people of the Netherworld Palace were so scared that their legs turned to jelly. Those people didn't care about the order of the leader anymore. They rushed out of the cave and ran away. Unfortunately, demon beasts were everywhere except for the cliffs. Those people soon died in the mouths of the demon beasts. A few people had an idea and climbed up the cliff. After climbing for a short while, a big rock fell from above. These people were not prepared at all. They were hit by the rock and fell to the ground. The demon beasts below naturally would not let go of the food that was in their mouths. In a short while, the 16 people were all dead. None of them survived. Yun Chujio, who was on top of the cliff, quickly told the Guai Chao to stop seducing them. Otherwise, she would throw the rock at her own feet. The demon beasts realized that the smell that attracted them had suddenly disappeared. They were very unwilling to give up and looked around. However, Yun Chuzhou climbed very high and was covered by the fog. Therefore, the demon beasts could not find her even after searching for a long time. They had no choice but to disperse. Yun Chuzhou was very proud in her heart. What did she mean by being smart? What did she mean by defeating the strong with the weak? What did she mean by using her brain to win? It's me. It's me. It's still me. Do the people of the Netherworld Palace still want to capture or kill us all? I'll kill all of you first. I'll destroy them one by one. I'll kill them one by one. I'll make sure that none of you can return alive. After a while, Yun Chuzhou finally climbed down from the cliff. She could not stay in this cave anymore. The smell of blood was too strong here. There might even be demonic beasts coming over. It was better to move to another place. Yun Chuzhou stayed behind a big rock for the night. After eating breakfast, she continued to move forward. She had already made a plan. If she met anyone else, she would tell them about the attack from the Netherworld Palace. This way, everyone would have a precaution. Moreover, if there were more people, there would be some protection. However, perhaps because the Misty Valley was too big, Yun Chuzhou did not meet anyone else after walking for half a day. She also did not meet anyone from the Netherworld Palace. Yun Chuzhou simply continued to search for the earth-burrowing spiritual mushroom. This thing was related to whether she could skip a grade. If she could not find one and was eliminated, it would be embarrassing. However, the earth-burrowing spiritual mushroom grew in the soil and could not be found outside. How was she supposed to find it? This Huanfu old man was really wicked. He actually came up with such a stupid question. Just as Yun Chuzhou was worrying, Xiao He volunteered, "Master, let me help you find it." Yun Chuzhiou's eyes immediately lit up. Yes, she could not find it, but Xiao He could. It would definitely find it if it went underground. Xiao He went underground and soon found an underground spiritual mushroom. Just as the underground spiritual mushroom was about to run away, it was put into the storage space by Xiao He. Chapter 1385 Mushroom Killer. 2 hours later, Xiao He emerged from the ground. Then, Yun Chuzhou saw Xiao He start to dig out mushrooms from the storage space. 1 mushroom, 2 mushrooms, 5 mushrooms, 10 mushrooms. Yun Chuzhiou's eyes turned into peach hearts. Damn, with Xiao He's mushroom killer, how could she be worried that she would not be able to find the earth-penetrating spiritual mushroom? Yun Chuzhou praised Xiao He. Xiao He was uncomfortable with its master's enthusiasm. Yun Chuzhou could not help but sigh. Although these 3 spiritual pets of hers were not particularly powerful, they all had their own unique abilities and were not bad. In the next few days, Yun Chuzhou brought Xiao He and began to sweep crazily. Wherever Xiao He went, the earth-penetrating spiritual mushroom would not be spared. Fortunately, Yun Chuzhou told it not to kill all of them. Xiao Duo's earth-penetrating spiritual mushroom should not be picked, only then did it avoid the tragic fate of the earth-burrowing spiritual mushrooms becoming extinct. That afternoon, Yun Chuzhou found a small stream, so she washed her face and took out a few steamed buns to eat. At this moment, she heard footsteps. Yun Chuzhou found that she was surrounded by grass and had nowhere to hide, so she simply continued to sit there and eat the steamed buns. Not long after, 7 people walked over. Yun Chuzhou looked at them and found that their ages and spiritual powers were uneven, and their clothes were not uniform. They should not be from the Netherworld Hall, but rather, they seemed to be some wandering cultivators who had gathered temporarily. The 7 people sized up Yun Chuzhou. When they saw that Yun Chuzhou was wearing the uniform of the Tianyuan Academy, they knew that she was a student of the Tianyuan Academy. The 7 people exchanged glances and surrounded Yun Chujio in the middle. Little girl, if you know what's good for you, then hand over all the valuable things you have on you. As long as we don't kill you with money, if you don't know what's good for you, humph. Yun Chujio stood up calmly. As you can see, I'm a student of Tianyuan Academy. Aren't you afraid of getting revenge for robbing me? A few of them burst into laughter. One of them, a short and fat man, said, "Little girl, have you been reading too much? Getting revenge for us? Where are you going to find us after leaving this misty valley?" A triangular-eyed man added fiercely, "Cut the crap. Hurry up and hand over your valuables, or we'll kill you. Anyway, nobody will know about this in the misty valley." Yun Chujio looked at them with a smile. "I should be the one to say this. Hand over your valuables, or I will kill you." Those people were stunned and then burst into laughter. Is this little girl scared silly or talking in her sleep? She wants to rob us. What a joke. Brother Zhou, don't talk nonsense with her. She's only at the 5th level of the spirit sect. I can take care of her alone, San Jiaoyan said disdainfully. The other 6 people also thought that Yun Chujio was a weak chicken, so they stepped aside and signaled San Jiaoyan to make a move. San Jiaoyan attacked Yun Chujio with his spiritual power. His spiritual power materialized into a poisonous snake and pounced on Yun Chujio with its tongue sticking out. Yun Chujio slowly released a small pig of spiritual power. San Jiaoyan and the others saw this and immediately laughed. Ha ha ha. Her spiritual power materialized into a pig? And a small pig? There is such a useless student in Tianyuan Academy. Damn, this is too useless. Maybe she entered through the back door. Such a useless person still dares to come to the Misty Valley. He is really courting death. Chapter 1386 Anti-Robbery. The 7 of them laughed out loud in disdain. San Jiaoyan laughed the most, and then he stood there dumbfounded. No. Impossible. The 2 spiritual powers collided. Shouldn't both sides cancel each other out and the remaining spiritual power continue to attack? Why was only his poisonous snake dissipating, but the little piglet was becoming more and more solid? Could it be that the little piglet had eaten his poisonous snake? How was this possible? While San Jiaoyan was still in a daze, the little piglet had already finished devouring the poisonous snake and was pouncing towards him. San Jiaoyan hurriedly dodged to the side. He never expected that the spiritual energy little piglet would turn around and bite his shoulder. San Jiaoyan screamed in pain. He was also panicking. He actually used his hand to pull the spiritual power piglet. The spiritual power piglet bit off a part of his thumb. San Jiaoyan screamed even more miserably this time. He was almost not moving anymore. Fortunately, the spiritual power piglet's spiritual power was exhausted and dissipated. Otherwise, San Jiaoyan's right hand would have been crippled. The other 6 people could not help but take 2 steps back. This little girl's spiritual power materialization was too strange. Moreover, wasn't she at the 5th level of the spirit sect? How could she know a high-level materialization technique? Could it be that she was a spiritual venerable? San Jiaoyan swallowed a hemostatic pill and said to the others, "What are you all standing there for? This little girl is so strange. She must have a lot of treasures on her. Kill her, and those treasures will belong to us." The eyes of the other 6 people revealed a greedy light. Although they were somewhat afraid of Yun Chujio's true spiritual power, but when they thought that there were 7 of them, it didn't matter even if Yun Chujio was a spiritual venerable, so they swarmed forward. Yun Chujio curled her lips. "You all ask for this. It's a good time for me to exercise my muscles and bones. Yun Chujo didn't release her puppets because she felt that she could use these people to gain some actual combat experience, so she moved around and fought with the 7 people. The 7 people released their spiritual beasts and pounced towards Yun Chujo. Yun Chujo waved her hands and several spiritual pigs rushed towards the spiritual beasts. The 7 people were so scared that they almost cried out. How was this possible? Didn't they say that the high-level physical transformation technique could only use one spiritual beast at a time? How could she release so many little pigs? Could it be that she was using the middle-level physical transformation technique? But, why were these little pigs so agile with the middle-level physical transformation technique? And they could even devour spirit energy. The 7 of them felt regret in their hearts at this moment. If they had known that this little girl was so perverted, they wouldn't have robbed her no matter what. She was a pervert. However, there was no medicine for regret in this world. They could only grit their teeth and endure. Although this spirit energy little pig was perverse, its spirit energy would disappear once it dissipated. They didn't believe that. This little girl could continuously release the little piglet of spiritual power. Even if she was tired, it would exhaust her to death. An hour later. Tears streamed down the 7 people's faces. They had no choice but to face a tragic fact. If they continued fighting, the little girl would probably tire themselves to death. They would tire themselves to death. One of the short and fat men said, "Brothers, let's retreat. We probably won't be able to take down this little girl today." The other 6 also had the intention to retreat, so they exchanged glances and wanted to run. Yun Chujo sneered, "Want to run? You're dreaming. You can run if you want to, but leave all your valuables with me." Chapter 1387. Do you want to make a fortune? When the 7 of them heard Yun Chujia's words, they couldn't help but sneer in their hearts. "You want to stay? If we want to run, can you stop us by yourself?" When the 7 of them thought of this, they ran in different directions. They thought that if this was the case, Yun Chujio would only be able to chase one person at most. Unexpectedly, Yun Chujio gave them a sly smile. Then, she took out 5 strange-looking things from her spirit beast bag and rushed towards them. Then, she released a red-furred fox. It seemed to be the red flame two-tailed fox. The fox roared, and the 7 of them could not help but be slightly stunned. Then, they began the process of being beaten up. They were about to cry. What the hell was this thing? Puppets? Weren't puppets used to block? How could these damn things still track them? Spiritual attacks had no effect on this damn thing at all. At most, it would only leave a shallow scratch. However, the puppets were much more adept at beating them. Once the prongs on their arms pierced their bodies, they would have to give up their lives. The 7 people could not hold on any longer. They stretched their necks and shouted, little fairy, we admit defeat. We admit defeat. Quickly make them stop. I beg you." Yun Chujio said with a smile, "Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, chase them over here." The 7 of them were so angry that they were twitching. What did she mean by chase? We are not pigs or sheep. However, the situation was better than the others. They had no choice but to obediently be chased by the 5 puppets in front of Yun Chujio. The short and fat man said fawningly, "Little fairy, we did not recognize Mount Tai. We were wrong. Please spare us." "Spare you? Hand over everything you have, and I can consider it. Otherwise, I will let my puppets bleed you one by one." At this point, even though the 7 of them were unwilling, they had no choice but to hand over all the valuable things they had to Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio curled her lips. "It's not that I want to criticize you, but as robbers, you are really cowardly to be this poor. TSK, you are really trash. The 7 of them dared to be angry but did not dare to say anything. They could only smile and say, yes, yes, we're trash. There's a chance to make a fortune in front of us. Do you guys want it? Yun Chujio said with a smile. The 7 of them inexplicably felt that Yun Chujio's smile had bad intentions. They could only probe and ask, little fairy, what kind of chance is it to make a fortune? All of you are from the Tianyuan continent, right? Yun Chujio asked without answering the question. The 7 of them were confused. Was the little girl crazy? We are not from the Tianyuan continent. Where are we from? However, they did not dare to refute and nodded obediently. Have you heard of the Netherworld Hall? Yun Chujio asked with a smile. Is it the Netherworld Hall that almost conquered the Tianyuan continent 11 years ago? Yun Chujio nodded. That's right. They have already sent people into the Misty Valley. I killed a few of their people a few days ago. But according to them, they've sent quite a number of people into the Misty Valley this time. They're prepared to kill everyone from the Tianyuan continent who entered. When the 7 people heard this, they were instantly stunned. What? The people from the Netherworld Palace want to kill us? They must have come prepared. Then, wouldn't we be in great danger? Little fairy, then, what does this have to do with us getting rich? The short and fat man asked in confusion. 7 people's hearts beat drum. The little girl doesn't want us to protect her, right? Chapter 1388 Would not do business at a loss. Don't worry, didn't I ask you to protect me? I even think that you guys are a burden. Yun Chujio curled her lips and said. Although the 7 of them were furious, they had to admit that even the 7 of them could not beat a little girl. They were indeed useless. I'll give you guys a task. You guys spread the news that the members of the Netherworld Palace have come in. This way, everyone will be on guard so that they won't be caught off guard by the members of the Netherworld Palace. The 7 of them had never expected Yun Chujio to make such a request. However, what did this have to do with getting rich? Yun Chujio smiled at them. As long as you complete this task, they'll reward each of you with 1,000,000 high-grade spirit stones. How about that? This is much more than what you've earned from robbing, right? The 7 of them could not believe their ears. Was this little girl really sick? It would not benefit her if they passed the message to her. Why was she so generous? Yun Chujio could see the doubts of the 7 of them. She sighed and said, actually, I am the kindest person. How could I bear to see our compatriots being killed by the people of the Netherworld Palace? Therefore, I would rather pay my own money to deliver the message to them. Swear on your inner demons. After the matter is done, I will give you the spiritual stones. The 7 of them had no other choice but to swear on their inner demons, swearing that they would do their best to deliver the letter. Yun Chujio even took out the recording stone and recorded a message for them. This way, the credibility of meeting the students of Tianyuan Academy would be higher. Only then did Yun Chujio let the 7 of them leave. The 7 of them wanted to cry but had no tears. They were originally here to rob, but now, not only were they robbed, they even became errand boys. Fortunately, the little girl did not use them for nothing. Otherwise, they would really die of cowardice. After the 7 of them left, the little black bird asked Yun Chujio, Master, even if you force them to deliver the letter, they still have to agree. Why did you agree to give them 1,000,000 high-grade spirit stones? 7 people is 7,000,000. How can we just let the cow do the work and not feed the cow grass? With spirit stones, they will have more motivation. This way, the efficiency will be higher. As for spirit stones, when the wool is on the sheep, I will naturally let the people who were saved take it out. I only moved my mouth, why not? Xiao Hanio, silent. Alright, it was really unnecessary to ask. Their black-hearted master would never do business at a loss. Yun Chujio rested for a moment and continued to walk forward. This fellow was very puzzled. Why didn't he meet anyone from the Netherworld Palace? Perhaps the 16 people she killed were in charge of this area. So the others did not come over. Just as Yun Chujio was cursing in her heart, 8 people came over. Although their clothes were no different from those freelance martial artists, Yun Chujio could immediately tell that these people were from the Netherworld Palace. This was because these people's spiritual powers were very high, and their movements were uniform. It was obvious that they were trained secret guards. Moreover, their eyes were filled with killing intent. Yun Chujio was a little puzzled. Logically speaking, shouldn't there be 16 people in their group? Why were there only 8 this time? However, it was good to have fewer people. It was just the right time to kill them all. When those people saw Yun Chujio, their eyes immediately lit up. Without any explanation, they surrounded Yun Chujio in the middle. Yun Chujio did not run either. Even if she ran, she would be caught. Moreover, after the battle with the 7 people just now, it had already proven the power of the 5 puppets. Killing these 8 people should not be a big problem. Chapter 1389, Are you Yun Chujio? The leader asked with a fierce look. Oh, am I so famous now? You all know me. I'm really embarrassed. Yun Chujio said shyly with her hand covering her mouth. The 8 people of the Netherworld Palace were dumbfounded and confused. This little lunatic was the Yun Chujio that Dharma Protector Tao mentioned. Wasn't she just a silly little girl? Moreover, her spiritual power level was only at the 5th level of the spirit sect. What kind of storm could she cause? Dharma Protector Tao must have not finished his words. There was no way that this little girl would ruin our plan. However, since they had already met, it was better to capture her. It was not bad to use her as a threat to the Longevity Palace. Stupid girl, to tell you the truth, we are from the Netherworld Palace. If you want to be sensible, quickly surrender. We don't want your life. Otherwise, you will suffer. People from the Netherworld Palace? Since you are from the Netherworld Palace, why aren't you staying in your Netherworld continent? Why did you come to our Heavenly Yuan gift? Are you all full of yourself? Yun Chujio blinked her eyes and asked curiously. The people from the Netherworld Palace were so angry that they were twitching. This little girl's words were really too sarcastic. One of them with an aquiline nose said to the leader, "Leaderly, don't talk nonsense with her. I will just capture her." The leader nodded and the group expanded the encirclement. If that was the case, Yun Chujio would not be able to escape. Yun Chujio pouted. Run. I won't run. I'll catch all of you in one go. The hooked nose pouted and looked at Yun Chujio. I heard that the Tian Yuan Academy is the best academy in the Tian Yuan continent. Why did a trash like you enter? I don't think the Tian Yuan Academy is that good. You are right. I am the most trash in the Tian Yuan Academy. However, I think that even a trash like me can deal with you without a problem. Do you believe that I can kill you in less than 3 moves? Yun Chujio said with a smile. Ha ha ha. Aren't you afraid that the wind will blow your tongue? 3 moves. I can kill you in 3 moves. After the aquiline nose finished speaking, he attacked Yun Chujio with his spiritual power. The aquiline nose was at the 2nd level of the Supreme Being realm, and his spiritual beast was a vicious wolf. It pounced fiercely at Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio unhurriedly released 1 spiritual power piglet, 2 spiritual power piglets, and 3 spiritual power piglets. Yun Chujio released 10 spiritual power piglets in one breath. 3 of them entangled the vicious wolf, while the other 7 pounced at the aquiline nose. The hawk-nosed man was shocked. How? How was this possible? How could the little girl release so many spiritual beasts? And they all seemed to have intelligence. Although he was only stunned for a moment, the 7 piglets of spiritual power had already lunged at him. The hawk-nosed man immediately screamed and had to take out a sword to hit the piglets of spiritual power on his body, trying to disperse them. At this moment, Yun Chuzhou shot out several small purple needles from her hand towards the eyes of the aquiline nose. The aquiline nose had no choice but to jump up and dodge. Just as the small purple needles flashed past, Yun Chuzhou released 10 more piglets of spiritual power. The aquiline nose was bitten until it cried out in pain. The leader of the Netherworld Palace shouted, "This stinky girl is a little strange. Let's attack together. TSK, are you guys going to gang up on me? How shameless. Didn't you just call me trash? I see that you guys are even worse than trash like me. A bunch of shameless bastards. Stinky girl, don't talk so glib. When we catch you later, how are we going to deal with you?" The leader said fiercely. "TCH. Do you think that only you guys know how to gang up? I know how to do that too. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, kill them all for me." Chapter 1390 The puppet army of Yun Chuzhou. The people of the Netherworld Palace looked around but did not find anyone else. They thought that Yun Chuzhou was bluffing and sneered as they attacked Yun Chuzhou with their spiritual power. After Yun Chuzhou activated the defensive spiritual weapon on her body, she released 5 puppets. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go. Let's show them the power of our puppet army of Yun Chuzhou. The people of the Netherworld Palace were shocked and they saw the 5 puppets. However, they felt that Yun Chuzhou must have wanted these puppets to block their attack and then escape. She must be dreaming. How could 5 refined iron puppets stop them? It was simply a dream. However, they were horrified to find that the 5 puppets were not used to block but to attack. How was this possible? Weren't the refined iron puppets only used for defense? Moreover, if they were not careful, even their masters would be injured by accident. Why did these 5 puppets seem to have intelligence? Who exactly was this little girl? Why were her spiritual energy materialization and puppets so strange? The 5 puppets dealt with 5 people respectively, while Yun Chuzhou dealt with 3 people alone. She released several spiritual energy piglets to charge at the 3 people and summoned 8 immortal swords, aiming at the vital points of the 3 people. The shock in the hearts of the 3 people could not be described with words. How could one person control 8 spiritual swords at the same time? This smelly girl's spiritual sense was too abnormal. They finally believed that Dharma Protector Tao had sent back Yun Chuzhou's name. It was definitely not a misunderstanding. It seemed that the failure of the previous plan was directly related to this smelly girl. Although the 3 people were extremely shocked, they thought that it should be no problem for 3 to fight against 1, so they stepped up their attacks. They never expected that even if some of the spiritual power attacks were not swallowed by the spiritual power piglet, when they got close to Yun Chuzhou's body would flash and block the attacks outside. This stinky girl actually had a lot of defensive spiritual weapons on her. The 3 of them had a bad premonition in their hearts. It seemed that it was impossible to take down this stinky girl today. They had better retreat first. After finding their companions, they would deal with this stinky girl. Just as the 3 of them were about to escape, they heard a few miserable screams. With the corner of their eyes, they realized that 3 of their companions had already been killed by the refined iron puppets. Oh my God! Was the attack power of the refined iron puppets so powerful? Number 2, number 3, and number 5, I'll leave these 3 to you. Kill them all. Don't leave a single one alive. Yun Chuzhou ordered the puppets. The 3 iron puppets immediately pounced on the 3 of them, their hair tangled together. Yun Chujio, on the other hand, would occasionally launch sneak attacks with her piglets. Their cooperation was flawless and perfect. An hour later, the battle ended. Except for the leader who was left alive, the rest of the people were killed by the puppets. Yun Chujio took out a large kitchen knife and pressed it on the neck of the leader. "Tell me, how many people did you sneak in this time?" Just as the leader was about to take poison to commit suicide, Yun Chujio removed his chin and took out the poison from his teeth, then, she used the large kitchen knife to cut the man's face. "You want to play the trick of taking poison to commit suicide with me? You're underestimating me too much. I have many ways to torture you. If you don't want to suffer, tell me the truth." The man snorted. "It's just some physical pain. Just go ahead and do it." "Oh, I didn't expect you to have such a backbone. What a pity, what a pity. It's just that your brain isn't very good. Do you think I can't do anything if you don't tell me? Since you won't tell me, then I'll search your soul. Then you'll become a fool. Even if you reincarnate, you'll still be a fool. Do you really not regret it?" Yun Chujio asked with a smile. Chapter 1391 Yun Chujio will definitely be able to save us. When the leader of the Netherworld Hall heard that Yun Chujio wanted to perform a soul search, the expression on his face became anxious. You don't have as much spiritual power as me. It's impossible for you to perform a soul search on me. Is that so? But I can command 8 immortal swords. Tell me, which one of us has the stronger spiritual sense? I only gave you one chance because I thought you were still a good man. Since you don't want it, then I'll perform a soul search." Yun Chujio acted as if she wanted to perform a soul search. The man was terrified. I'll tell you. This time, we sneaked in a total of 20 groups, 16 people in each group. Yun Chujio was shocked. 320 people. They really put in a lot of money. What are their cultivation levels? 70% are at the spiritual venerable realm, and the remaining 30% are at least at the 8th level of the spiritual saint realm. You arranged them by region, right? Yes. Where are the other 8 people in your group? They are searching on the east side. Seeing that there was nothing else to ask, Yun Chujio directly cut that person into pieces. Che! How stupid! If I knew the soul-searching technique, would I need to ask you? Idiot! The soul-searching technique can only be used by spiritual venerables. I don't know it at all. Yun Chujio put away the storage rings of the 8 people, then, she had Xiao Hanyo burn the bodies of the 8 people before continuing to walk towards the east. After walking for an hour, Yun Chujio heard voices in the distance. She took off the hidden spirit ring and carefully moved forward. Yun Chujio hid behind a bush and looked ahead through the gaps in the bush. She saw that 8 people from the Netherworld Hall had trapped more than 10 students from Tianyuan Academy in the middle. There were traces of blood on the bodies of those people. It was obvious that they had fought for a while. Yun Chujio looked at them carefully. Those who were trapped were from the Xian class. Most of their spiritual power was around the 7th or 8th level of the spirit sect. It was no wonder that they were no match for the people from the Netherworld Palace. Tisk. They even said that the students from Tianyuan Academy were the elites of the Tianyuan continent. I think they were just average. However, these female students were quite pretty. As long as you female students surrender obediently, I can guarantee that you won't die. As for the rest, don't even think about leaving alive today. A bald-headed pervert said. Pooey. We would rather die than let you have your way. Shameless. A female student scolded. Yo, your temper is quite fierce. Let's see if you still refuse to admit defeat after a while. Chapter 1392 Cute as a meal, stupid girl, are you Yunchujo? We were just about to look for you. Who would have thought that you would come to us of your own accord? You are quite good looking, you can play with me. The bald man looked at Yunchujo lecherously. Yo, not only are you a mad dog, you are also a mad dog in heat. Your netherworld palace is really an eye-opener. Yunchujo said with disdain. Damn girl, you're courting death. The baldy jumped over and stretched out his hand to grab Yunchujo. He was planning to take advantage of Yunchujo because he saw that Yunchujo was only at the 5th level of the spirit sect, and he thought that he could capture Yunchujo just by relying on his movement technique. Yunchujo had put on the hidden spirit ring when she showed up just now, so everyone saw that her spiritual power level was at the 5th level of the spirit sect. Yunchujo's eyes darkened. Comparing movement techniques with her. She was simply courting death. It was just the right time to use the shadowless feet of Little Gio that she had not used for a long time. The baldy thought that he would be able to catch Yunchujo with this grab and then take advantage of her. He never expected that when his hand was about to grab Yunchujo, Yunchujo actually turned around and disappeared. Where is she? The baldy was a little stunned. He did not expect that Yunchujo had already turned behind him and kicked him in the back. The baldy was kicked a few hundred feet away. Although he did not fall down with a single leap, he was still in a very sorry state. The students of Tianyuan Academy could not help but cheer, Yunchujo, good kick. You kicked this bastard to death. Yes. Kick him to death. The baldy flew into a rage out of humiliation, damn girl, you're courting death. As the baldy spoke, he shot a spiritual energy attack at Yunchujo. It turned out to be a vulture. After Yunchujo dodged the vulture's attack, she turned her body to the side, she giggled happily, Emma, this spiritual beast of yours is really a good match for you. TSK, but I think this vulture is much better looking than you. A person like you is simply a disgrace to the baldy world. If I were you, I would have long found a piece of tofu and smashed it to death. You're wasting spiritual energy and resources while you're alive. You're simply letting everyone in the world down by living. The bald-headed man was so angry that he was about to turn ugly. Darn girl, keep showing off. I want to see how many moves you can dodge. The bald-headed man released another vulture. This time, not only was the vulture bigger than the previous one, but its eyes were also more agile. It seemed that this was a high-level spiritual beast. Yunchujo smiled and started releasing the pig. Actually, this guy felt that every time he released the pig, it was torture to the enemy because it was really a slap to the face when it was defeated by the original target of ridicule. As expected, both the baldy and the people from the Netherworld Palace burst into laughter when they saw that Yunchujo released a cute piglet. Ha! This is the first time I've seen someone's spiritual beast being a pig, and a piglet at that. TSK, this Yunchujo is really trash. I wonder what those people are thinking. Do they think that trash like her can save them? I think, in less than 10 minutes, Chief Lu will be able to take her down. Less than 10 minutes? I don't think he can take her down in 10 moves. This Yunchujo is really too trash. Even the students of Tianyuan Academy had a look of confusion and disappointment on their faces. Oh my god! Yunchujo's intermediate spiritual beast was actually a little piglet. It's over. This was even worse than the purple needle of the elementary materialized spell. This little piggy was very cute, but could cuteness be used as food? Were you preparing to kill your enemy with cuteness? Chapter 1393, Kill each and every one of them at this moment. The spiritual energy piglet had already encountered the vulture. Everyone thought that the spiritual energy piglet would be consumed by the vulture soon. However, what they didn't expect was that the spiritual energy piglet jumped onto the vulture's back and took a bite at the vulture's head. The vulture kept struggling and wanted to throw the spiritual energy piglet down. However, the spiritual energy piglet seemed to be stuck to it. It buried its head in its food and ate happily. The students of Tianyuan Academy could not help but think of Yun Chujia's usual appearance when she was munching on spiritual fruits. What kind of spiritual beast did her master turn into? Just when everyone was shocked, Yun Chujio released another spiritual piglet. That spiritual piglet immediately joined the ranks of the vulture. The Baldy could not believe his eyes. It could devour other spiritual beasts. How was this possible? Moreover, he could release two spiritual beasts with intelligence at the same time. While the Baldy was in a daze, Yun Chujio shot several small purple needles at him. It was too late for the Baldy to dodge, so he simply reached out and grabbed the small purple needles with his fingers. Then, he sneered contemptuously. "You still want to hurt me with these broken needles? You're really self-destructive." Following a few explosive sounds, the bald man's right hand and arm were blown away, and he kept screaming miserably. At this time, Yun Chujio fired a few more purple needles. The bald man was only focused on screaming, so he did not notice that after the purple needles entered his head, the bald man died along with the explosive sounds. The people of the Netherworld Palace were stunned, and they did not have the time to save the bald man. They just watched as the bald man was blown to death. Baldy was the leader of these people. Once he died, those people would lose their backbone. One of them said, "Let's attack together and kill her." Yun Chujio said with a smile, "Come on, let's kill one of them. Let's kill two of them." "Stupid girl, don't be so smug. Chief Lu was just careless. We will kill you now to avenge him." 7 people trapped Yun Chujio in the middle. Seeing this, the students of Tianyuan Academy naturally couldn't just stand by and watch. They also joined the battle. Although they were weak, 5 or 6 of them could still hold on for a while, so they held off 3 of them. There were only 4 people left on Yun Chujia's side. This guy didn't use a puppet, so she decided to hold back. Maybe there would be competitions in the academy in the future. The puppet was her trump card, so she couldn't reveal it for the time being. Yun Chujio looked at the direction of the wind and then jumped forward. The 4 of them naturally followed closely behind. Did this brat want to run away? No way. Suddenly, Yun Chujio stopped and giggled at the 4 of them. "Do you want to die or do you want me to help you die?" The 4 of them were so angry that they gritted their teeth and fired their spiritual beasts at Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio still released her spiritual piglets, but this time, she did not release 2, but a group of cute piglets. The 4 people were dumbfounded. 2 high-level spiritual beasts were already abnormal enough, but the little brat actually released a group of them. This was too abnormal. The more abnormal ones were still behind. They heard Yun Chujio shout, "Look at the hidden weapons." The 4 people did not know what hidden weapons Yun Chujio was going to release. They only saw a few huge things smashing towards them, so they quickly used their weapons to block them. Then, they were miserable. The chili powder inside the sack flew everywhere. The 4 of them were choked to the point that tears flowed down their faces. Yun Chujio had already put on her self-made gas mask. Furthermore, she was standing in the upper wind, so she was not affected at all. Chapter 1394, End the battle quickly. Yun Chujio naturally wouldn't let go of such a good opportunity to attack. Several small purple needles shot towards the 4 of them. The 4 of them were choked by the chili and couldn't even open their eyes. They could only activate their defensive spirit tools to block the small purple needles outside. Yun Chujio released a few more spiritual energy piglets. Those spiritual energy piglets lay on the defensive barrier and began to gnaw on it. Very quickly, they broke through a layer of the defensive barrier. Yun Chujia's heart was filled with incomparable resentment. If only I could use talismans. I could just use a sack of exploding talismans to finish them off. Now, I can only rely on the piglets to gnaw on it. However, I have plenty of piglets. I don't believe that I can't gnaw through your spiritual barrier. Yun Chujio waved her hands non-stop. An endless stream of piglets with spiritual power began to gnaw on the defensive barrier. These people from the Netherworld Hall did not have as many defensive spiritual weapons as Yun Chujio. Very quickly, the defensive spiritual weapons were used up, they could only accept the battle with their eyes red and swollen. The four of them fought and retreated at the same time. It was obvious that they were planning to escape. Seeing that they were already quite far away from the battlefield, Yun Chujio simply released 5 puppets. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, kill them all. Finish the battle as soon as possible. Leave no one alive. When the 4 of them saw the puppets that Yun Chujio released, they were completely dumbfounded. The smelly girl still had a refined iron puppet. However, she was 80% certain that she did not know that this puppet could only be used for defense. What an idiot. If this puppet were to be used for defense, it would only be a hindrance. It might even kill her. Unexpectedly, the 5 puppets charged straight at them. The sharp forks on their arms emitted a cold light, and their movements were extremely agile. Before the 4 of them died, they still did not understand how a puppet that was clearly used for defense could attack. Furthermore, it was quite intelligent. This was impossible, this was impossible. Yun Chujio hurriedly rushed back to the battlefield over there. Although the students of Tianyuan Academy were at a disadvantage, it was fortunate that there were many of them. As soon as Yun Chujio arrived, the situation immediately became clear. After an hour, the remaining 3 people were also killed by the crowd. Those students immediately collapsed onto the ground. This kind of danger was truly terrifying. Everyone calmed down and thanked Yun Chujio one after another. Yun Chujio, it's all thanks to you this time. Otherwise, we would have died. Yun Chujio, thank you. You are our savior. Yes, Yun Chujio, I used to say bad things about you behind your back. From now on, you are my savior. If anyone dares to slander you again, I will help you vent your anger. A girl said with a guilty expression. She had always spoken ill of Yun Chujio behind her back, especially after Lan Luochen came. Yun Chujio waved her hand carelessly. We are all classmates. It's only right for us to help each other. I have already killed a group of them. The Netherworld Hall has sent a total of them this time. Yun Chujio told them what she knew and then said, I have already sent 7 people to deliver a letter to everyone, but it's still a drop in the bucket. If you have nothing else to do, go and deliver the letter as well. Don't worry, I'll explain the situation to Deputy Dean Xiao. This year's mid-year grand competition is a special occasion, so students might not be eliminated. If you really want to be eliminated, they'll think of a way to protect you. Everyone saw that Yun Chujio had already said so much, and it was a matter of saving people, so they naturally wouldn't refuse. They agreed and left. Seeing that they had left, Yun Chujio continued to walk forward. This guy was counting on his fingers. Out of the 20 teams, I've already killed 2, and there are still 18 teams left. Scum, you all better pray that I don't run into them. Otherwise, if I run into any of them, I'll kill one of them. TSK, I wonder if Vice Palace Master Lu will be so angry that he'll vomit blood after I've ruined the plan of the Netherworld Hall once again. Thinking about it, it was truly wonderful. Chapter 1395, Come and Catch Me. Yun Chujio was actually very worried about the safety of Feng Ming and the other 2. However, the Misty Valley was just too big, and it would be too difficult to find them. She hoped that they had not met anyone from the Netherworld Palace. Just as Yun Chujio was thinking about all sorts of things, she saw a group of people approaching her. Yun Chujio immediately ran away. Damn it, she could still deal with 8 of them, but it would be difficult for her to deal with 16 of them. She would have to run first. Those people had also seen Yun Chujio. Although they did not see Yun Chujio's appearance clearly, they saw that she was wearing the clothes of the Tian Yuan Academy, so they naturally would not let her go. They quickly chased after her. Damn girl, stop right there. Otherwise, we won't be polite anymore. The people from the Netherworld Palace shouted loudly. Yun Chujio did not say anything. She just kept running. As she ran, she thought of an idea. This area was flat, and there were no cliffs. It was impossible to use the demonic beast's move. How could she kill them? If she were to fight them head-on, she would not be able to defeat them. She had to make them scatter. However, how could she make them scatter? Yun Chujio rolled her eyes, then, she shouted, "Are you mad dogs? Why are you chasing me for no reason? Let me tell you, I know that you are from the Netherworld Palace. Someone has just sent me a letter. They are now sending a letter to someone else. When that time comes, you will be waiting for your death." When the people from the Netherworld Palace heard this, they were shocked. Someone had already sent a letter. Not good. If the people from the Tian Yuan continent were on guard, their plan would definitely fail. They might even be surrounded. They had to kill those people. Stupid girl, don't be alarmist. Where are the people who sent you the message? The people from the Netherworld Palace wanted to find out the whereabouts of those people. Che. Do you think I'm stupid? I won't tell you that they went north. Yun Chujio realized that she had let the cat out of the bag. She quickly added, they went south. The people of the Netherworld Palace found it funny. This little girl was probably not very smart. She clearly let the cat out of the bag just now. It seemed that the messenger went north. Boss G, they'll bring some people to kill those people. Otherwise, if they really spread the news, we'll be in a passive position, a tall and thin man said to the leader. The leader nodded. You're right. You can bring 7 people. 8 of us are more than enough to deal with this little girl. Yun Chujio saw the tall and thin man take 7 people away. This guy was confident now. However, in order to be safe, he still continued to run forward. He had to let them walk farther to be sure. The distance between the two parties was getting closer and closer. The people of the Netherworld Palace started to fire their spiritual power at Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio activated the defensive spiritual weapon on her body and kept running. After running for about an hour, Yun Chujio stopped running and said, "Damn, I'm so tired. I can't run anymore. Come and catch me." When the people of the Netherworld Palace heard Yun Chujio's words, they looked pleased with themselves. When they looked at Yun Chujio's appearance, some people exclaimed, "Boss G, she's Yun Chujio. She's the Yun Chujio that the higher-ups are looking for." When the leader saw this, he was instantly overjoyed. Capturing this stinky girl would be a great merit. Lu Yuan, go tie her up for me. This is our first merit. Yes. That person called Lu Yuan walked up to Yun Chujio in a carefree manner. Stinky girl, you're still tactful. You're right. Otherwise, you'll suffer. Ah. Chapter 1396, The Materialization of Lan Luchen's Spiritual Power. The person called Lu Yuan did not expect that just as he was about to imprison Yun Chujio's spiritual power, Yun Chujio suddenly shot out several small purple needles at him. The distance was too close, and Lu Yuan was not prepared at all. He was hit by the small purple needles. Following the explosion, Lu Yuan screamed in pain and fell to the ground, dying. The remaining 7 people were stunned at first, then they were furious, and they attacked Yun Chujio with their spiritual power. Yun Chujio waved her hands and started to release the pigs. History was always astonishingly similar. When those people saw the cute piglets, they also mocked and despised them. When they saw that the spiritual power piglets could devour their spiritual power, they were instantly dumbfounded. Yun Chujio then released the 5 refined iron puppets. Humph! You bunch of idiots, did you really think that someone would deliver the letter? This trick of mine is called luring the tiger away from the mountain. Wait until I kill all of you, then I'll deal with those 8 idiots. The 7 people of the Netherworld Palace only knew that they had been fooled at this time. However, it was too late to regret. The 5 refined iron puppets and Yun Chujio's group of little piggies had firmly controlled them. They could not run away even if they wanted to. An hour later, all 7 of them were dead. Yun Chujio still took away their storage rings, and then let Xiao Hanio destroy the evidence. Xiao Hanio had a miserable look on his face. Damn it, this little lord had actually fallen to the point where he could only do the job of destroying the evidence. He was so aggrieved. Yun Chujio quickly ran to the back, preparing to kill the remaining 8 people. Unexpectedly, after 2 hours, she only found a few pools of blood and traces of fighting. She did not find the other 8 people. It was really strange. Could it be that those 8 people were killed by someone? Or did they go somewhere else? Yun Chujio shook her head and continued to walk north. After Yun Chujio left, a person stood up from behind the bushes in the distance. He had long black hair and there was a hint of melancholy in his eyes. It was Lan Luochen. Lan Luochen looked at Yun Chujio's back with an inexplicable expression and then quietly followed her. As Yun Chujio walked, she felt that someone was following her. However, she did not find any traces even after checking a few times. Could it be that I was being paranoid? 2 days later, Yun Chujio encountered the people from the Netherworld Hall again. Yun Chujio repeated the same trick. Let me tell you, I know that you are from the Netherworld Hall. Someone has just sent me a letter. They are now sending a letter to someone else. When the time comes, you will all be waiting to die. Unexpectedly, this group of people was obviously more difficult to deal with than the previous group of people. The leader of the group sneered and said, "Smelly girl, are you trying to lure the tiger away from the mountain? Don't worry, if we catch you, we will naturally find the person who sent the letter. Let's go together and catch this smelly girl first." Yun Chujio had no choice but to release the refined iron puppet and the spiritual power piglet to fight with them. Although the refined iron puppet and the spirit power piglet were abnormal, there were simply too many opponents. Yun Chujio quickly fell into a predicament and could only rely on the defensive spirit tools on her body to support herself. Just when Yun Chujio was racking her brains to think of a way to escape, she did not expect Lan Luochen to appear. Lan Luochen did not say a word and attacked the people of the Netherworld Palace with his spirit power. Yun Chujio could not help but be greatly shocked. Lan Luochen's spirit power materialized into a qilin. It was awe-inspiring and very agile. It was obviously a high-level materialization technique. The people of the Netherworld Palace started to fight with terrified expressions. However, they were no match for Lan Luochen at all, not to mention that there was also Yun Chujio's 5 refined iron puppets. Chapter 1397, All the good men were left for Chi. In just a quarter of an hour, the people of the Netherworld Hall were completely annihilated. All of them were killed. Wow! Lan Luochen, so you're so awesome. You really hit it too well. Yun Chujio said in surprise. Lan Luochen revealed a faint smile. I didn't expect you to have such a powerful puppet. Well, your spiritual power materialization technique is also very strange. Yun Chujio scratched her head in embarrassment. Hee, it's just a so-so. Why did you suddenly appear? I was looking for earth-penetrating spiritual mushrooms nearby. I heard the sounds of fighting here and rushed over. Ah, so it's like that. Since you're so powerful, let's form a team. Well, kill all those people from the Netherworld Palace. HMPH, you actually want to kill us all? Dream on. Lan Luochen nodded his head lightly. All right. With Lan Luchen's participation, Yun Chujia's confidence increased greatly. In the following period of time, the two of them worked well together. They easily destroyed 10 teams from the Netherworld Hall and saved some of the people who were captured. Yun Chujio also discovered that Lan Luchen's culinary skills were surprisingly good. A simple roast meat could produce a different taste. Yun Chujio was beaming with joy as she ate. Lan Luochen, you are really an all-round good man. When my good friend Chi Chi comes, I will introduce you to her. The two of you are really a match made in heaven. This guy wanted to keep a good man for Yun Chi whenever he saw one. He completely ignored the question of whether Yun Chi would transmigrate over. When Lan Luochen heard Yun Chujia's words, a trace of hurt flashed in the depths of his eyes. He said with a teasing tone, "Oh. Am I really that good? Then what do you think of me?" Yun Chujio naturally replied, "I think you're very good, just like my brother." Lan Luochen smiled bitterly in his heart. "Brother? I don't want to be your brother. There's no rush. There are plenty of opportunities. I'll definitely let you find out that I'm more suitable for you than debeiming." The two of them chatted for a while more. Yun Chujio sighed and said, "We've already killed 14 teams and 4 teams. I don't know where they are. I'm really worried about senior brother Feng Ming and the others. Cultivation is full of dangers. They have their own good fortune. You don't have to worry too much." Lan Luochen comforted her. The next day, the two continued to walk forward. Lan Luochen suddenly made a hand gesture to Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio understood and the two of them found a bush to hide in. "Dharma Protector Lin, do you really think that something happened to the other teams?" Although there is no definite news, since the news of our infiltration has already been leaked and we haven't met anyone after walking for so many days, there is a high chance that something has happened. Dharma Protector Lin sighed. There are 16 people in each team, and their spiritual power is not low either. How could something have happened? He really could not figure it out. However, Dharma Protector Lin, you are wise. With our 4 groups gathered together, we are not afraid even if we encounter people from the Tian Yuan continent. Furthermore, we have captured so many hostages. When Yun Chujio heard that there were hostages, she looked behind them. Indeed, there were dozens of people tied up by ropes. They were sitting on the ground with blood stains all over their bodies. Yun Chujio saw Feng Ming and the other two at a glance. Her heart was mixed with joy and worry. It was great that Feng Ming and the other two were not dead, but there were 64 of them. She and Lan Luochen could not deal with them at all. How could she save them safely? Chapter 1398 ran really fast. Yun Chujio could not think of a good idea at the moment, so she could only wait and see. Dharma Protector Lin, what should we do next? Because the situation is unclear, we will stay here for the time being. In 7 days, the Misty Valley will close. At that time, we will be ejected out, and we will naturally be able to escape, Dharma Protector Lin said in a deep voice. What about these hostages? Dharma Protector Lin looked at Feng Ming and the others with disdain. The value of these people is really limited. Kill them before we go out to avoid being a burden. After a while, those people began to eat their lunch. Yun Chuzhou gave Lan Luochen a look and the two of them left carefully. What should we do? The two of us can't defeat those people at all. Yun Chuzhou said with a frown. Lan Luchen's expression was also very grave. With the two of you's abilities, it is indeed impossible to save them unless we can contact other people. However, we are unable to use the sound transmission talisman in this misty valley and the area here is very large. It is really very difficult to contact them. The two of them discussed for a long while but did not come up with any good ideas. They could only carefully hide their tracks and check on the situation of the people of the Netherworld Palace from time to time, hoping to find a suitable opportunity to strike. As time passed, Yun Chuzhou could not sit still anymore. Lan Luochen, the longer we drag this out, the more disadvantageous it will be for us. Let's do it this way. I am their number one target, so I will go and attract their attention. Once I run away, they will definitely chase after me. If there are fewer people chasing after me, you will kill them together with me. If there are more people chasing after me, you will kill the rest of them. Save Feng Ming and the others, and then go and save me. Lan Luochen felt that this was too risky, but Yun Chuzhou had already made up her mind. Seeing that his persuasion was ineffective, he could only agree to Yun Chuzhou's plan. Yun Chuzhou deliberately took a detour, then hopped towards the direction of the people from the Hall of the Dead. The people from the Hall of the Dead soon discovered Yun Chuzhou, and someone exclaimed, "Dharma Protector Lin." Yun Chuzhou. It's actually that damned girl, Yun Chuzhou. I didn't expect her to come to us of her own accord. What a great fortune. A hint of joy flashed across Dharma Protector Lin's eyes. He had thought that he was going to return empty-handed this time. He didn't expect that Yun Chuzhou, that big fish, would actually take the initiative to bump into the net. The heavens were really helping him. Feng Ming and the others who were caught felt their hearts sink. Wasn't junior sister little Jiu sending herself to her death? You should run. No matter how powerful you were, you wouldn't be able to defeat so many people. Moreover, their spiritual power was much higher than yours. They had no hope of being rescued. After all, no matter how heaven-defying Yun Chuzhou was, it was impossible for her to defeat so many people from the Netherworld Palace. Dharma Protector Lin waved his hand, and a group of people jumped towards Yun Chuzhou, wanting to catch her. At this moment, Yun Chuzhou seemed to have suddenly come to her senses and cried out in alarm, "Ah, help! Quick, help! These bastards want to kill me!" Yun Chuzhou screamed as she ran, and the people from the Netherworld Palace chased after her relentlessly. Yun Chuzhou turned her head and glanced at them. It seemed that the Netherworld Palace really wanted to capture her. More than half of them had come to capture her. Since there were many people who came to capture her, Lan Luochen could take the opportunity to rescue Feng Ming and the others. She had to lure these people further away. Therefore, Yun Chuzhou used all her strength and ran forward like a wind and fire wheel. The people of the Netherworld Palace were so angry that they gritted their teeth. Yun Chuzhou, this wretched girl, was clearly only at the 5th level of the spirit sect. How could she run so fast? Chapter 1399, Stalling for time. After running out for nearly 2 hours, the people of the Netherworld Palace finally caught up and surrounded Yun Chuzhou. The leader was none other than Dharma Protector Lin. It was not easy for the big fish, Yun Chuzhou, to bump into him, so he was naturally worried, so he personally brought people to chase after her. Although he felt that he alone was enough to deal with such a little girl, he still brought more than 40 people to be safe. As for the captives, their spiritual power had already been restrained, so they were not worried that they would run away. Moreover, it did not matter even if they ran away. The most important thing was to capture Yun Chuzhou. Little girl, you are quite good at running, but now you have no chance of escaping. Be obedient and surrender. Otherwise, if we don't make a serious move, you will suffer. Dharma Protector Lin felt that Yun Chujio was already in their hands. He looked very proud. I am puzzled. I didn't provoke the Netherworld Hall. Why do you have to capture me? Yun Chujio blinked her eyes and said angrily. You are the one that the higher-ups want to capture. As for the reason, when you return with us, you will naturally know. Cut the crap and surrender obediently. Yun Chujio sighed helplessly. Alright, since you have the advantage in numbers, I can't beat you. Come, tie me up and bring me back for the reward. Dharma Protector Lin pointed at the two of them. You two, restrain her spiritual power and tie her up with a rope. The two people who had been assigned immediately took out the rope and walked forward, wanting to tie Yun Chujio up. At this moment, Yun Chujio waved her hands repeatedly, and several small purple needles flew straight towards their eyes. The two of them reacted rather quickly. They dodged more than half of the small purple needles, but there were still a few small purple needles that pierced into their faces. Along with the sound of explosions, the two of them screamed repeatedly. Although they did not die on the spot, however, their faces were also badly mutilated from the explosions. Taking advantage of the time when everyone was still in a daze, Yun Chujio waved her hands repeatedly and the small purple needles continuously shot towards the people of the Netherworld Palace. However, those people were already mentally prepared, so they dodged Yun Chujio's small purple needles one after another. Dharma Protector Lin flew into a rage out of humiliation. Stinky girl, if you refuse a toast, you'll have to drink the forfeit. Go. Take her down and leave her alive. Yun Chujio shouted, wait. Is that all your Netherworld Palace has? Do you still want to gang up on a little girl at the 5th level of the Spirit Sect? Do you dare to fight me one-on-one? Yun Chujio did this naturally to stall for time. Once Lan Luochen succeeded, when the reinforcements arrived, she would be saved. A bearded man said to Dharma Protector Lin, Dharma Protector Lin, I'll take care of her. I can deal with a little girl at the 5th level of the Spirit Sect alone. Zhu Qi and Zhang Yao were just careless, so they were tricked by her. Dharma Protector Lin also felt that his two subordinates were careless, so he said to the bearded man, Lu Zhuang, I'll leave this stinky girl to you. Don't accidentally kill her. Lu Zhuang, who was also the bearded man, looked at Yun Chujio with disdain. Stinky girl, didn't you want to fight one-on-one? I'll accompany you for a few moves and let you see the power of the Netherworld Palace. Pooey. You look like a bear, you don't know how to speak. What power do you have? I will kill you. Yun Chujio said with a smile. Lu Zhuang was so angry that his face turned red. He attacked Yun Chujio with his spiritual power, not to mention that Lu Zhuang's spiritual beast was actually a bear. I told you. You look like a bear, so spiritual beasts are also bears, ha ha ha. Yun Chujio said as she dodged. She did not release the spiritual pig, but used the small purple needle to fight. She did this naturally to delay for a while more. Chapter 1400 was indeed strange. Lu Zhuang was so angry that he repeatedly used his spiritual bear to attack Yun Chujio. However, Yun Chujio was slippery. After a full quarter of an hour, Lu Zhuang did not even hurt a single hair on Yun Chujio's head. However, Yun Chujio's mouth was not idle. She continued to provoke Lu Zhuang, I told you. You big stupid bear, you are so stupid that even your spiritual beast is incomparably stupid. How dare a fool like you lecture me? Pooey. You are really trash. I think you're probably the dumbest among all of us. Since you know you're useless, don't come out and show off. Why didn't anyone say that they wanted to have a one-on-one fight with me, but only you came out to have fun? Do you think that you're the only one who stopped? TSK, if you ask me, everyone is stronger than you. Even the two people who went up just now are 100 times stronger than you. You're useless. Lu Zhuang's temper had always been hot-tempered. After being provoked by Yun Chuzhou, he was so angry that his face turned red and his neck was thick. He simply put away his spiritual beast and took out a large knife and slashed at Yun Chuzhou. Yo, you still want to play with knives with us? I am the ancestor of knives. Look at my large kitchen knife. Yun Chuzhou took out the large kitchen knife and waved it a few times in a pretentious manner. In fact, she continuously dodged and continued to stall for time. Dharma Protector Lin did not pay much attention to it at the beginning. Suddenly, he had a thought. Not good. This stupid girl could not have used a trick to lure them away, right? She could not have appeared in front of them for no reason. Moreover, she was clearly stalling for time. There must be accomplices rescuing the hostages. Once the hostages were rescued, they would come to reinforce them. Damn it! Dharma Protector Lin thought of this and roared angrily, this darn girl is stalling for time. Everyone, attack together. Let's end this quickly. Yun Chuzhou secretly cursed in her heart. Damn it, she had actually been seen through. It had only been a short while, and it was impossible for Lan Luochen to succeed. Moreover, the other party still had 20 people left, so she had to save herself. Hence, Yun Chuzhou no longer hid her strength and released the 5 puppets. The 5 puppets protected Yun Chuzhou in the middle, and Yun Chuzhou began to release her spirit energy piglets towards the people of the Netherworld Palace. The people of the Netherworld Palace were shocked. Fuck. What the hell were these things? Wasn't that smelly girl at the 5th level of the spirit sect? How could she release so many spirit energy piglets? And how could those damn piglets devour their spirit energy? Also, these refined iron puppets were too abnormal. Didn't they say that refined iron puppets could only be used for defense? Why were these puppets able to attack and even know how to protect their master? Dharma Protector Lin thought to himself, no wonder the higher-ups specifically asked for this stinky girl. This stinky girl was indeed strange. Disregarding everything else, just these refined iron puppets were a great killing tool. If they knew the manufacturing method and mass-produced them, wouldn't it be easy to capture the Tianyuan continent? Therefore, they had to capture this stinky girl alive. Although Yun Chuzhou had refined iron puppets and her spiritual energy was also abnormal, the difference in strength between the two sides was too great. In just 15 minutes, the refined iron puppets were already unable to block the attacks of the people of the Netherworld Hall. Yun Chuzhou summoned 8 immortal swords to hold on for a while, but it was still useless. Yun Chuzhou felt that in less than 15 minutes, she could only surrender. There was still no news from Lan Luochen. It seemed that she could not be counted on. Could she only be a captive? Yun Chuzhou gritted her teeth and rushed out first. Therefore, Yun Chuzhou activated the defensive spirit tool on her body and then gave an order to the puppet, "You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.